can you bring up this document first? I was talking to Nick. Yeah, she definitely emailed and said she's not here for the work session. The PDF, it's. Dave was going to join me, but it's okay. All right, let's go ahead and start because we have a council meeting, so we'll just have a short time to talk. But what I wanted to do today was to continue where we left off, but from the last work session with a particular talk about transit. And Katrina's actually out sick right now, but I think I've been really involved, so I can answer most of the questions. But before we do that, I wanted to just go through what I think I've heard in this document. And the clerk and his helper is working on putting it up on the screen. Any delay is my fault because I just gave it to them. But this is what I took notes in terms of what the feedback or level of feedback for each of these ideas, and we're going to continue to go ahead and pursue them unless you tell us otherwise or have more clarifying questions. So that's, you can read through it, and if you have questions later, you can send it, or if you can tell me right now if you don't agree with this explanation that I have. Innovation funding, we are going ahead with the Hobbs and Soccer Park, an effort to transfer it to a partner to be eligible for the innovation funding. That would then give a 5-year period of time that would allow them to build a collaborative that could potentially look to put them in a new location as part of a development project. But anyway, it would give us us and the partners a little buffer to cover these areas which we currently subsidize. Innovation funding,
Can I ask a quick question about that, Stephanie? So the 5-year grant period, I'm not sure I'm understanding the buffer you're talking about. This would save us substantially in 2027 in terms of operating budget?
So these are two areas that we subsidize.
Right.
So this would be basically transferring the operations of these two areas to a partner.
Right.
And then, so there's a certain amount of revenue we bring in and a certain amount of expenditures that we are charged, and then there's a gap between the two.
Right.
So we would work to develop an agreement with them that that basically transfers the revenue to them, and then they would take over the expenditures. So the way that we are expecting that we would close, that all of us combined would close the gap, is that they might lower the expenses a little bit, like maybe they have parents do striping of the soccer field or something. Or if it's a partner, they might have other revenue sources, like they might be more able to fundraise than the city is. Mm-hmm. And also they might be able to generate more revenue that we don't, like they might be more aggressive about seeking ad revenue or something like that, or naming rights. And then additionally, there's the innovation funding, which is 25% of the expenditures. So that money could be used to anywhere in the situation. But what we talked about with Hobbs in particular was using having the city continue to cover capital expenditures and insurance, because the biggest question mark with Hobbs is it's almost balanced in terms of the budget, but the challenge is that there's a lot of uncertain capital expenditures coming down the road. And that's because we have really held off on investing in it, because we have been talking about transferring it for the whole time I've been here, and I think before as well. So the idea was the city has to maintain the property during the period of the innovation funding. So the thought in our discussion was that the agreement would say that the city would continue to cover capital expenditures and insurance over the 5-year period, or until the collaborative was able to find a new location. And then we would keep the innovation funding, but the innovation funding would basically be like a reserves for any unknown capital expenditures.
So it would be a reduction for the city for 2027 that we had been talking about,
Right.
minus the expense for insurance and any capital. I mean, we would still be covering the insurance, so it's less of a savings than maybe we had originally talked about.
It's kind of complicated, but we are trying to figure it out and make sure that it's fair to the partners and
course.
and
Yeah.
to the city.
I get that, I'm just trying to
Yeah, I
understand
don't
if
know.
there's a change here or,
No, I mean, it's kind of, I don't really know what the bottom line is going to
Okay.
be. It's kind of a lot of moving pieces, but
Got it.
there would still be some savings. It's kind of a longer term thing where it positions these user groups and maybe their partners like Visit Eau Claire might want to be involved or the university or whatever to start planning for like a more regional, like a regional draw.
okay, got it. It's
So-
just gonna be a slower,
It would be like ideas, it would kind of start the clock on that process.
yeah,
With the 5 years and say at the end of the 5 years, either somebody is going to take over ownership of Hobbs and the soccer park, or the city is going to sell it to a developer to redevelop in combination with a project where there's 6 sheets of ice and the mall or whatever.
Got it.
But that's, like, we want to be a partner, but not the leader of that.
thank you.
On the innovation funding, other innovation funding, the only one that's really in place still is the health department, and so that's potentially a really big grant, but it requires the county to take a bunch of steps, and they're not sure if they have the time to do that before the required transition of work or whatever at the end of June. So we're trying to figure that out. Oh yeah, sorry. And then just continuing, we're going to talk about transit in a moment. And then on the back page, I listed out what people had suggested. So suspend COLA adjustments for a year, reduce health insurance benefits, have a referendum. The next one is something, Kitsy, Dave, and I were just talking about this, so it requires a lot more thought, but basically you can add to the water bill a fee for snow removal, which is about $2 million. But in order to do that, you have to reduce the levy by how much we spent on that service in 2013, and then you have to implement a fee that's higher. It's a way to generate revenue, but it is kind of one of these, it's similar to the wheel tax where you have the authority to do it, but it'll be very unpopular. So it's in the toolbox though, and this is something that Madison has done. And I think some other communities are considering it because it's one of those ones that is available to us. Somebody's asked that we eliminate general fund spending in the CIP, and we looked at what those were. Those are a lot of council initiatives, but that was $25,000 for the biodiversity project, $50,000 to develop urban area plans, which are replacement to neighborhood plans, and $450,000 for a flexible housing initiative. That's in this year's budget. So if you didn't have any of those in next year's budget, that would help our general fund budget. Somebody asked about closing Fairfax 1 day per week. That works out to be about $25,000 savings, but we're trying to see if we can do parking in the parking lot there too. So I don't know, but we can shift over to transit now if you like, or if you want to talk about any of these or provide feedback on any of the ones that are on the second page, we can do that too.
I have one point of
Yeah.
feedback. So under eliminating general funding or general fund spending in the CIP, I would feel uncomfortable with moving forward with the recommendation to eliminate the flexible housing initiative funding until Hawk had an opportunity to weigh in on that and identify kind of what the impacts might be. I know that's something Hawk's been talking about and planning for in their work plan, and did a lot of work on the matrix recently. So I just wanted to call that out specifically.
And so just to put a point on that, we can still borrow for housing initiatives, but the general fund, the flexible housing one is paid for through general fund money. So it allows for things that, like bus passes or whatever that, yeah. Okay?
I think with the Fairfax or any facilities where they close 1 day a week, I don't remember. I thought this came from a conversation where you could get similar savings just by reducing the hours and maintaining the number of days. I don't. Do you recall anything like that? Because
Probably.
you know, having it closed a whole day a week rather than a reduction in hours. And often I think most of the people are using the pool during the hottest part of the day. If trimming hours maybe in the evening.
It's a possibility.
See if you could get
Yep.
similar savings without having to be closed a whole day would probably be something to explore.
Okay.
Larry?
Yeah, thank you, Vice President Andrew. I think I will be uncomfortable with this proposal about the soccer park, about the Fairfax, and where is that? I can't. So if majority of people goes to Fairfax, they are the people, minority people are not. People who are poorer. So if we put a parking fee, and if I think Patrick is not here, Patrick will tell you that's why. The poor, there's a discount that the people are supposed to pay maybe $10, they pay maybe $5 a day. So and if we had a parking fee, I think it would be not be fair. And the
Wait, are you saying you prefer the parking fee, or you
no,
don't
no
want to?
parking fee. No parking fee. And the soccer, I know I can see people from this ESO organization here. They have reached out to me. They have reached out to other social medias. I think what ESO has done to this community is unbelievable. There's a lot of kids who have gone through there, and if we try to privatize soccer park, I think it's not a good idea.
Is there an area that you, do you have a scenario of how you'd like to get to the cuts, Larry?
For me, what I would like is, we as a city council, we are elected by the people. So for me, I feel like the city council should also reach out to the community. We elect maybe 5 or 10 people. We consult with them. We have to work with the community. It's not about the city council, we say, oh, we have to do this one. Let the community also be part of this conversation. And we see how we can work together. But if we do, with the city council, we say, we have to do this one, I feel that's not what it is stand for.
Larry?
Yeah, I was going to ask about a little bit more information on the snow removal thing.
Mm-hmm.
So people's property taxes would go down by an amount, and then it would just be based on a percentage of your water usage instead. Is that it?
It would probably be based on how much, square footage you have on a street, similar to our street assessment. And it would be charged to nonprofits too, whereas now the nonprofits don't pay for that because they are tax exempt.
Okay, thank you.
Just wanted to provide a little feedback on a couple of these. One is the one that Josh brought up regarding trimming hours instead of a day. I talked to Patrick, and he said that the savings would be realized, I think, in a way that it has less disruption to the service if it's trimmed a couple hours versus an overall day. The other piece of this, I'm actually open to that idea of using some of the CIP funding, general funding that goes to the CIP. And maybe it could be for a grant writer to help us generate more revenue based on a position, which I know other local government units, including in Eau Claire, have done. So I'd be open to that potentially, just with the idea of a return on investment that could help us down the road. I think what I struggle with is I'm feeling like I think most of these, or a third of these cuts overall come from recreation and roughly, and so it just feels like maybe there's too much focus on one area, and maybe the council feels that's an appropriate level of cut for recreation to take sort of the major brunt of this, but I think I'm struggling a little bit with that too, out of all the areas that we provide services, that recreation gets cut, and maybe that's okay, but it also seems like it's a very important thing, especially for families that maybe don't have as much means in our community to access some of these incredible opportunities that we provide. So I'm struggling a little bit with that breakdown of a third of these cuts being roughly in recreation.
So we really need some direction from the council because we're right in the midst of like these innovation funding. And I understand your point, Larry, but I do also think that there is a lot of potential and promise with shifting the soccer fields and the Hobbs to a partner that can take ownership over it and really run with it. And also like we subsidize those very heavily. And so do we want to, is that the right way to, like, is that what we want to continue to do, is run the ice rinks or soccer parks? And so I just need, I need direction really like now or very soon because we're trying to make this stuff happen like in time for, I had heard before that people were supportive of the innovation funding. And so we are working like super hard to try to make this happen by the March 31st deadline. And so if that's not a direction we want to go, then we have to, we can't like think about exploring avenues that don't have a clear potential for savings. We need something that's concrete.
Aaron?
Thanks. So if I just want to make sure I understand how this process would work with the innovation funding. So we apply for it. If we get it, which, you know, is by no means a
I think it's
foregone
quite,
conclusion.
it's like we will know even when applying if how likely we are to get it.
Okay.
It's quite assured, basically.
All right, so the idea is for during that 5-year period, we aren't subsidizing it, but we're also not getting any of the revenue.
Right.
Like whatever partner that we're working with does both of those
Right.
things. And then there's an innovation funding that's, you said 25%.
Yes.
That will be split somehow between the city and the partner, or maybe
Right.
all to the partner to help them deal
Right.
with that or whatever. And then at the end of those 5 years, are we obligated to sell it?
No. Well, I mean, we would work out an agreement, so if it's somebody, if we haven't met with the soccer people yet, but we met with all the ICE partners on Friday. And so they really would like to work together as a group to develop kind of like the Blaine scenario, which is like a multi indoor soccer and like 8 sheets of ice or something, like maybe not that big, but so we would be along with them that whole time. And then also at the end of that time to try to figure out how to build this facility. As soon as it was built, then we could figure out disposition of the space. So basically, it's possible that we'd sell it and some of that money would seed construction of this new facility. Or maybe we would do a land swap, so a developer would come and say, okay, I want to build a hotel at the current Hobbs place and also help build this Blaine facility. And, you kind of like something more complicated, but it'd be a development agreement where their revenue would come in. And so we would be a partner, but we wouldn't be the group spearheading it because we just don't have the capacity to spearhead building a really ambitious ice or soccer facility.
But if we're just like, at the end of the 5 years, if we're just not coming to something, there's nothing that obligates us to continue.
We could just, well, we wouldn't, I guess we could start running it again as an ice rink, but we would still be in the same boat unless a lot of revenue came through and.
Sure. But I just wanna, we're not the thing that I'm concerned about is we're not obligating a council 5 years from now to sell it to somebody that we don't even know for sure who
No.
it will be yet. Okay.
Unless but the partners are gonna want that in the agreement. So they're gonna want like a right of first refusal, or they want to be part of, at least the
Right.
ICE ones, and I would assume the soccer too, want to be part of this planning process.
Sure.
Okay, just a couple quick questions, because I want to make sure we move to transit, because it's going to be, I think, a lot, so. Larry?
I think.
Oh, Nate?
Nate
Oh,
was
yeah,
first.
thank you. Yeah, just a couple quick thoughts about the, ice arena, soccer fields. Like, these generate a lot of revenue, and I can't help but worry that we're potentially sacrificing long-term gains for a short-term emergency. But my own kid is in AYSO, and I see this as necessary right now. Like, the big fear is the fear of the unknown. What's going to happen with these programs? Well, we don't know. It's not going to necessarily be a disaster, but it is a sacrifice we need to make in the short term right now, and we've got time to figure out the long
Yeah.
term. So this is something we have to do, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's an email here which was sent today, about the Ice Arena, the hubs, which says, I don't know, is Kensia the director of finance?
Kinsey is not here right
Okay,
now.
we are talking about numbers now. There's an email here which says that in 2024, the Apps Ice Center generated a surplus of $96,000. Do you know anything about that?
Well, as I said, the costs of operating hubs can be broken into two parts. One is staffing, that kind of thing, and the other is the debt and the capital investment. On the operations, just staffing and that kind of piece, that's like breaking even or generating a little revenue. On the capital side, it's very expensive, and we have these like chillers or whatever that could break and cost a lot of money. I don't want to say a number, but so we have a very big unknown on the capital side, and we have not been investing in hobs because for years there's been a plan to find a new home for ICE, and therefore we have really extensive deferred maintenance on hobs. So no, we need to either start investing. So we need to bump other stuff like our fire station, or the police training facility or affordable housing off the CIP so that we can bring hobs up to par, or we need to figure out a way to move to a new facility. We can't keep limping along. And that's why we want to start a clock to say, look, we know this is not going to work forever, so we need to think about what the next chapter is for ICE in Eau Claire.
So my next question is to you. Okay, short. Okay. My next question to you is, we have the North High School, we have the
Yes.
University of Eau Claire, we have a memorial, and the clubs which use that facility.
Right.
Have you guys reached out to them and to talk about this?
Yeah, we all met together on Friday, all those representatives.
And can you give us a highlight to what you guys?
We just talked about what I just said. We need one partner, at least one nonprofit partner, to be the agent that signs onto this agreement by the end of March, and then we have another 2 months, the end of June, to figure out some of the mechanics. But they would have to work together. These partners have to work together to figure out how all of their interests are preserved and advanced. And we would put into the intergovernmental agreement, you must have space for figure skating, you must have space for North Memorial, those kinds of things. So it's sort of us saying, all right, you guys run with it now, and we're going to help you we're going to be there with you for 5 years and beyond. But this is really your time to figure out where you want the future of ICE. And there's other groups like Curling, who's not at Hobbs right now, but would like to be part of a future facility.
So
Larry, we got it.
Okay.
If you can follow up after.
Yeah.
with
But so I guess can I get a general feeling if people are open to, do we want to continue to pursue the application for Hobbs and soccer with innovation with partners?
Yes.
No. For me, no.
I'd say yes. I'd say I had the same concerns Aaron did, that it was obligating us to privatize those facilities in the future. And if that's not the case, then I'm supportive.
Okay.
Yeah, it's exploring now.
Okay, so we're basically moving
forward.
We're moving forward to submitting Okay,
Transit?
you done with, so, okay, that's the rest good on that. If you can go over to the PowerPoint now. Okay. This is the same presentation as last week. Just bring this up. So we're picking up on from transit system goals. Well, they bring that up, I'll just read it here. Increased ridership and utilization across all modes, generate cost savings to reinvest while maintaining a high level of customer service. Maintain customer service improvements such as zero fare for K-12 service and a new transit center. If you can go to 15, yeah. Be agile, creative, and ready for evolving technology and community needs. And by the way, I don't have this data right now, but there's been a huge increase in, it's like more than double, I think, in youth riders. So it's super cool seeing that. So the, what?
Where?
In youth ridership after we
ridership.
made it fair.
Thank you.
It's actually challenging because there's so many kids on the bus after school that they don't have a place to sit, and then there's like having some issues with like behavior, that kind of thing. Okay, and then so what we have been trying to figure out this past year, and I know we have a lot of transit enthusiasts and who look at this really closely, but basically for our times of day, parts of the city, days of the week that have less ridership, it's challenging to serve them with fixed routes. And we also often hear from residents that they are frustrated that there's a large bus with a small amount of riders. And if you look at 16, this is on energy use, but it's similar for the cost. If you have about fewer than 5 riders per hour per vehicle, it's uses more energy to have a large bus, and it costs more than a smaller vehicle. And once you get over 6, then it's more efficient to have a fixed route or a larger vehicle. And I think it's like 4 miles per gallon for energy usage on the larger vehicles. So, so this is the thought of the North Side Microtransit pilot, was to experiment with using the on-demand model, which in transit, like best practices, people believe is alternative to using lower density, lower ridership times. And this is from our, 17 is from our transit development plan. It shows the routes by boardings per hour. So some of these are university routes, which have a high boardings per hour, and some are not university routes and have lower. And just to note, there might be some like anomalies, like if the service ends at like 7 or something like that, it might have a lower ridership. So I wouldn't take this as like the number one as like holy grail or anything like that, but.
What are the axes?
The axes? Number of rides, evening boardings per hour by route.
Bottom is the route.
Yeah.
The side is the boarding. Gotcha.
So you see some of these might be candidates for thinking about a more efficient way to do it. Let's just keep going. Oh, I guess I can advance it. This is an example of the Green Bay, which some of you were part of the meeting with the Green Bay people, and they have a model where there is much more frequent service within a certain area, and then some areas are served by microtransit who deliver riders to small hubs. And oh wait, where'd my Okay. So basically, we don't really know yet, but we are trying to do the math on this and think about what's the best way to position us to serve the less busy times. And it's very complicated. And I personally am interested in trying to make sure our transit system is kind of like as agile as possible and that it works for people. And if it's possible in future years to, for example, have a regional transit system, then we might see an inflow of revenue, new revenue. And so if we can continue to strive for efficiency and become agile and kind of promote ourselves to the public again, and then we could reinvest that money into expansion or additional fare-free pilots or that kind of thing. I also would love to see, for example, transit to the cities that came from the downtown transit center, and that could be eligible potentially for federal subsidy. So it's possible that you could have a, three times daily route from downtown Eau Claire to the cities. There's also like paratransit is a big cost to us, and that figures into our models. So this is what we've talked about is, we talked about evening microtransit as an option. It could be evening transit for all routes. It could be evening microtransit for just the non-UWEC routes. And then if we have microtransit, that can also cover paratransit. But these are the kind of some options.
Can I ask
Yeah.
a question on that slide? Can you say more about coordinating the changes to transit with parking policies?
I suppose like you could try to work with, say, business owners in the downtown and say you could to encourage them to offer either a parking pass or a transit pass, or you get like get a discount if you have one for the other. And I have that, so there are 135 rides per day in the evening from 6 to 10, or 34 per hour. So those are who we're trying to figure out. We're trying to figure out how to get those people around the city in the evening hours.
Clara?
Thank you. So I think we've kind of bandied around about some of these ideas, but for me, I really, and I think what I'm hearing you're wanting to know, hey, is council interested in pursuing any of these so we go invest a bunch of time, because it is so complex to figure out what the financial models look like. Mm-hmm. But I really struggle with giving any kind of green light for without knowing what those financial models look like. So I kind of feel like the question before us really is this worth investing a bunch of time to do some really detailed analysis? Because for me, this is gonna, what does it take? If we were to bring paratransit in-house, maybe that, can be a big savings for the city and for the community, and everybody's whole and happy. So, and I think I told you in maybe another conversation that, boy, if we could bring on somebody like a transit expert, and not to say that we don't have experts within our city, but everybody's doing full-time jobs, bring on somebody to actually do an analysis of, maybe Eau Claire is ready for a kind of a transit redesign. I don't know where that kind of money comes from. Can you remind me, if we were to bring on a consultant, is that operating funds?
Well, it's kind of like the point that Andrew was making about the CIP. So if you want to pull from some other general fund funded CIP, those are basically supposed to be one-time, non-reoccurring expenditures. So that would be a possibility. But I agree that I personally feel like there is so much resistance to changing transit, and I don't want to invest a lot of time if people don't have an appetite for making the changes. And so I guess the question is, do people have an appetite for, changing anything?
Can I
Sure.
respond? I have an appetite for really looking at what it takes to bring paratransit in-house. I
That
think
would be your main goal?
That's a good starting point.
Joshua?
Thanks. So you talked about a bunch of ideas that are possibilities here for transit. Have staff kind of coalesced in a particular direction, or is it still kind of nebulous? Because I didn't get a good sense of what actually is being looked. I mean, yes, there's a lot of things to look at. I mean, are these any plans that have been fleshed out as being viable yet? Or I kind of skipped ahead to the next page. Council work session. Is it so you're kind of this one a little less baked than some of the other plans that we're talking here today?
I'd say it's just very complex. So I guess I would say I personally, I don't know about the rest of the staff, but would like to try something in the coming year that allows us to continue to think about how transit should evolve and is like a living, responsive entity that really tries to get as many rides as possible. I mean, I'm not saying other people don't have this, but I want us to continue to learn. So it could be a microtransit pilot. It could be buying 5 vans run by our transit operators that complement 3 of the busiest fixed routes in the evening, and also does paratransit during the day. So that would be an experiment. So it would mean that would be something that we could try. And we would get feedback and that kind of thing, but it's a very small staff of people, and I think it's reasonable to hire an expert or to invest in certain things. But it just has become very political, and so I guess if we want to just wait a few more years, this question isn't going away. So the technology is going to keep changing, behaviors are going to keep changing, so it will be something we will have to come back to in a few years. But if we want to stick with what we got, that's okay too.
Yeah,
Follow-up question, well, if you don't mind. So microtransit, I've heard that as currently piloted, it's actually been more expensive per rider, and it's probably because it was just done to replace one particular route. And I
Right.
think best practice of microtransit is that you don't have to have it in a particular area; it runs over your entire city.
Right.
Would you be looking at microtransit to kind of replace the bus in the evening? That way, you have you still have fixed routes doing the majority of the work during the daytime, but then during those leaner
Yeah.
hours, microtransit's running the entire system basically,
It-
or at
it
least
could be-
a reduced subsets, and
Yeah, it could
would
be-
more efficient that way.
It could be the whole city, or it could be the city minus the university routes.
That could theoretically continue to run the larger buses
Yeah.
through the whole because of the larger ridership.
Right.
But okay, thanks.
So,
Okay, I'm good. If you want to go to somebody else.
what do you think, Emily? Just kidding.
Glad to be here. Go us. I think we're gonna have a full meeting. Do we have an end time for our work session?
How about 5:40? How about 5:50?
Okay. All right, I think Nate was next.
Sure, thank you, Council President. You asked what our appetite is, and I can tell you my appetite. My appetite ends on this where we deprive people of routes that they rely on. Like, we've got plenty of services in the city that benefit people, but some people rely on the bus route that they have access to get to their jobs, to get to their medical care and whatnot. And I'm open to exploring this, but that's kind of like my line in the sand, like depriving even a small population of this essential service.
But what does that mean? I mean, so like if you could have a fixed route replaced by microtransit, are you saying that that's a no? That's a hard no?
If the microtransit can provide the same level of service.
It would provide. So it's like microtransit does some things better and some things worse. You know what I mean? It gets you more places. It's less exact. It's not as predictable. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like there's not a slam dunk. They just have they're different tools with strengths and weaknesses.
I mean, if it's looking for efficiency is always good. as long as we know that this isn't a significant loss of service, be it microtransit or traditional routes. So I guess that comes down to the scope of what direction you're seeking from, because like, search for everything, go for it. But as far as,
We don't want to search
Yeah.
for everything.
yeah,
We want to know, do you want to try something different next year, or do you want to put this on, kind of in the parking lot for the next few years until there's political will or interest to address it again?
okay.
That's what I want to know.
I'd be up for putting it in the parking lot then, based on that concern.
Okay?
So I think I said earlier, thank you, Emily, that I have an appetite for looking at in-housing paratransit, because I do believe we have opportunity for efficiencies there. And I also want to say, because you kind of went on to talk about smaller vehicles, I also have an appetite for really exploring using smaller vehicles in the evening time. I think that would really alleviate a lot of the, many of the concerns that people have about, big empty buses running around with 2 or 3 people.
So keeping the fixed routes, but use small vehicles with the fixed routes?
That, as a starting point, and again, I really would love to see us spend some money to really look at Eau Claire and bring in, consider some redesign of the whole system. Bring in a consultant also. But in terms of like near-term appetite for me, it's bring an in-house paratransit and let's explore some smaller vehicles for evening time.
Okay.
Were you next, Aaron?
Thank you. Yeah, so the thing that concerns me most about at least the model of microtransit that we're using right now is, if somebody's just using it to go to the mall, and it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes later or faster than, a fixed route would be, that's not generally a problem unless like you really need to get there and the mall's gonna close, but it's not gonna get you fired. Okay, unless you work at the mall, okay. Thanks, Clara. But, if you're trying to get to the airport, you have a flight that's leaving, you're trying to get to work, in time or whatever, like, there's questions about, how many other people are using the system, where you fall in the priority, and if in fact you can, make those trips in the time frame that you need based on, the workload of the system, at least from what I've seen. Perhaps I'm incorrect about that, and so that's sort of the thing that gives me the biggest if about, or one of the things that gives me the biggest if about microtransit, because, the transit system exists to help people who either don't have a car or unable to drive for medical reasons or whatever, like participate and, make enough money to live in society. And if what we're thinking about replacing that with doesn't do that as well, that's a concern for me.
So what about though the general, do you want us to try, just keep in mind, the separate question is, if we don't want to cut transit, we are going to go back and have to cut the library, the health department, snow plowing, recreation more.
Benefits.
So just keep in mind, there has to be an equal, or we can still cut transit, but now it's increase fares and cut one fixed route or something like that.
Okay.
Oh, did you want me to respond to that?
Do you want?
We
I
could
guess
set
the
up another
biggest-
meeting too, if this is too much to do.
No, the biggest thing, I'm actually with Claire on that. I think there can be a lot of savings if we're gonna be continuing some sort of microtransit experiment in some capacity of using those same vehicles somehow to bring paratransit in-house. That could be, I believe, a source of pretty significant savings. So I guess, like I usually say, I guess the devil's in the details. I'm open to us exploring it, but
Okay.
Larry?
Oh, me, I have maybe 1,000 questions, so I don't know whether you can answer it or we can. So my first question is for my understanding, and the people are here and the people are listening. A day, how many buses go out to pick people?
Well, I just have the evening ridership here. It's 135 per evening.
No, I'm talking about the passes, not the people. How many passes go out to pick?
Oh,
How many routes do we have?
in,
No, pass.
many-
The passes. How many?
Passes,
A pass. You know, the one which carry people? It's a pass?
the buses.
Yeah.
How many buses?
Yeah, a day.
Not the routes, but how
No,
many
we're
buses?
not talking about lots. How many passes?
I'm thinking maybe we need another work session.
That's why I say I have a.
You have a
Do you want to
question?
just we could put a work session on for the next meeting. We just have to decide about what's going on for the budget, and then for if we just cancel, we're just going to drop microtransit and not continue in any way. So we could put on another work session for next meeting if you like. Would that be a good idea?
Is that enough time to get feedback to move on this? Okay, this is the 23rd and 24th of March.
Well, I've heard from Clara that she's interested in paratransit, so we could get a price. Maybe if people can just suggest
I'm
like
interested.
3 things that you want to see, 3 scenarios you might
Well,
want to consider.
Right now or via
Yeah.
email?
And then I can, or via email. I'm sorry, Josh.
Oh, yeah, I mean, seeing how we have, we're over time for stopping for the
4
next one,
minutes.
I think the only question, so you'll probably, if we get a work session specifically for this one, for
Okay.
the next meeting of the month.
So if you can ponder what you can live with that results in a cut.
Does anyone want to say anything tonight in the next 4 minutes?
I do.
Okay. I
Could
think,
we-
was Jess before you, though?
I don't think so.
I think so.
I might have been.
Go for
Yeah.
it.
I just wanted to say, so I'm like sensitive to this conversation. I know some of the routes that are the least efficient, you know, are utilized by residents in my district. And so what I'd really like to see, and I know on the next slide, for next steps, neighborhood association meetings were listed. I'd really like to talk to the North
Yeah.
Siders. And I'm sure that transit staff maybe have information and specific ideas of which riders are regular riders and regular users of microtransit. And I'd really appreciate getting their feedback, and so I can follow up with you afterwards,
Okay.
Stephanie, to share some upcoming dates and see if there might be a way, like, I'd be happy to work with staff on setting up a meeting to get that feedback.
I think like we were hoping to kind of narrow it down when we go out and get feedback. But yeah, so but we can. Yeah, I'm not sure, but we can keep thinking.
Andrew?
Thanks. I was one of the people who voted no on the paratransit. I didn't feel like it was microtransit. I didn't feel like it was a good expenditure at the time, but we had a close vote. I think it was 6-5 vote. Microtransit went in place. I don't have a sense for how successful it is, and I'm wondering if we could get the numbers to understand, here's how many rides, here's what's been spent.
Sure.
Does this work? Or are we gonna spend more money doing microtransit? Like, I don't even know how to weigh that up in my mind, so
Okay.
if we could get numbers on it, that'd be great.
Clara, you have 2
Just
minutes.
really quick. I just lost it.
Oh,
It was
no.
so fast. It was so fast. You were asking Stephanie about feedback. My question is, can we get more of a sense of what it takes to bring paratransit in-house?
Yeah.
How much work is it to
Yes.
really model that out? That's my question.
Yes.
How much work would it take?
Let me work on that. That's good direction.
Okay.
Yeah, because I would be 100% in support of figuring out a way to do that.
Okay.
But again, a lot of it depends on the numbers and the math.
But so just to note, bringing paratransit in-house couples with some level of microtransit, because then you have, it is basically a microtransit. So you could potentially,
Right, and actually, I'm just going to throw one more thing out there, because I know the microtransit model right now with VIA is on demand. Can we envision something like the paratransit model, which is where people kind of reserve in advance, so you can more, have more of that certainty, and then know what your limitations are, so it's not just a total unknown. I'm imagining smaller vehicles that, for certain areas, can be reserved in advance, kind of like the paratransit model. That's just another idea.
sounds
Great.
good.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Good job.
If you have other thoughts,
5:50.
send them my way.
Okay. So we'll end the work session, then we'll have 10 minutes, and then we'll start our meeting, our public hearing at 6 o'clock. So-
My son
This meeting of the Eau Claire City Council will come to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Berge.
Here.
Brewster.
Here.
Johnson. Imboga.
Yeah.
Miller.
Here.
Otto.
Here.
Reed.
Here.
Schoen.
Here.
Serrano.
Here.
Worthman.
Here.
Thank you. And welcome everyone to the Monday, March 9th meeting of the Eau Claire City Council. It's wonderful to see a full house tonight. So just how tonight's meeting will work, I just want to go over that quickly in case people are new here. It's been a while. We'll go through our agenda, obviously, and staff will present on each item, and then council will have the opportunity to answer or ask questions. And then that's when we'll open up to the public hearing portion. So that's when you will come up and speak if you want to do that. So we'll go through each item, and then at the end, we'll have our public comment period. And so that's for things that are not on the agenda. So make sure you watch the agenda and come up when you want to speak during that item. I do prioritize people that have signed up in the back. So there's a sign-up sheet in the back. So please sign up, or maybe it's out in the hallway, actually. Yeah. So sign up on the sign-up sheets, and I'll go off of those folks first, and then I will open up the council chamber, so everyone will get a time to speak who wants to speak. Other ways to speak, there's blue comment cards in the back of the room, or maybe they're out in the hallway. You can fill those out, and the city clerk will send those out to council members. You can always email us, and then there's also an electronic comment form on the same page as our agenda and our packet on the internet. So, again, you will have 4 minutes to speak, and there are lights. So green is you keep talking, yellow is you have 1 minute left, and red is please stop talking. And I will remind you to please stop talking when red pops up, just so we can make sure we have time to get to everyone tonight. So, okay. We do have different rules for the public comment period, and I will go over that at the end. So, with that, we'll go to our first agenda item, which is sidewalk repair and installation. So this is a public hearing on the city's intention to order the repair and installation of citywide sidewalk and curb and gutter according to section 660907 Wisconsin statutes at 90 locations beginning with 616 East Madison Street. And we have Director Ness here.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
This year, we have 90 locations that we're looking at sidewalk improvement. Examples of reasons we are looking to repair sidewalk are trip hazards, spalling, cracking, or sidewalk gaps, which are photos, examples on the screen right now. Here's some brand new sidewalk that had replacements. You can see sometimes it's a large section of sidewalk. Sometimes it's through a driveway approach where just the wear and tear of vehicles going in and out of the driveway has caused an issue. Sometimes the tree roots from a tree adjacent to the sidewalk cause the issue. So I did just talk with a gentleman who has a tree next to a sidewalk panel or two that have been heaving and definitely is causing the trip hazard in the area. We'll have our forester take a look at those locations and work with the property owner along with our inspector and contractor on the contract related to that. Just for historic trends, so you can understand where this program is at right now, I went back to see in 2022, we had 31 locations. In 23, we had 22 locations that we addressed. In 24, we were at 44 locations with 4 curb ramps. Last year, we had 23 different property, but 73 curb ramp locations, and we took care of curb ramps along the commercial corridor along Hastings Way. This year, we're looking at just 90 locations from the public, which had called into locations. So this is taking a substantial amount of our 441 account for capital from the street capital to do sidewalk improvements. So it really has gotten to be a large program. It's all over the city, so it's not just in one area. So it takes a lot of staff time to do inspections, traveling from the north side to the south side, and working with the contractor on this. So it is a very time-intensive program, but it also addresses access issues throughout the community. So it is a very, it's a vital program within the community. If there's any questions related to this, I can take those questions.
Great. Any questions? Councilmember Brewster?
Thank you, Council President. You know, we have sort of these benchmarks for how long an average road will last under what circumstances. Do we have the same sort of thing with sidewalks?
Concrete, we usually estimate for 50 years of a lifespan.
Okay. And I don't know if people are here about their sidewalk, but if there's questions, do you have your card available?
I do, yes.
Okay.
It is on the little chair rail ledge in the back of the council.
Okay. I'll just say if people do have questions about sidewalks, we won't be able to answer them, but Director Ness would be able to answer them after the meeting, or you can reach out to her. All right. Let's see. Do we have anyone? Can someone grab the sheet? Thank you, Director Ness. Okay. So we have one person signed up, David Niehaus. Yep, you can come on down.
I just had a question about,
Just want to state your name, please.
David Nehus. I live at 2761 3rd Street. I think my question may be for her. I just
Okay.
wondering if whole blocks are replaced, or if there's a crack across the middle, if just the crack is replaced.
Okay, yeah, that would be a great question for Director Ness, so thank you. Okay, anyone like to speak on this agenda item, on the sidewalk repair and installation on the 90 locations? Okay, I'm not seeing anyone. All right, so then we'll move on to our second item. It's a street utility and sidewalk improvements. It was a public hearing on proposed street utility and sidewalk improvements on Mappa Street, Madison Street to Cameron Street. And this was postponed from the February 9th and 10th meetings. And Director Ness, if you're ready to come back.
All right, Mappa Street, we are looking at just north of Madison Street. It's circled in red on the map, west of the Chippewa River. It's a one-block section from Cameron to Madison Street. At the last public meeting, we had an individual that had asked about the potential of closing the street. We had not looked at that as a alternative. We had just looked at replacing the utilities in the street in kind, trying to widen the street a little bit wider than what it is, replace the existing sidewalk that needs to be replaced, placing curb and gutter on the street section as well to help with stormwater improvements. Based on the direction from that meeting, we did look at doing a cul-de-sac, closing the street, looking to have a sidewalk connection a little bit further to the east. We had staff contact the property owners and were able to talk to 4 out of the 5 property owners. There was no strong preference either way from the property owners. In talking with our city staff, there was a strong concern about closing just related to emergency access. The alley is very narrow. There are utility lines that run along the alley that would impede with the ladder truck if the ladder truck is needed for a fire. Downriggers on the fire trucks would have issues probably stabilizing the vehicle in the alley due to the width of the alley. And then access during the winter time if they did need to get to the front side of those structures. That would be from Mappa Street. That would be of concern with snow removal. Snow removal was another issue that our community services had not a real driving factor, but they would have some concerns just due to the cul-de-sac. And then also we do within the new zoning code really promote through streets and connectivity within the neighborhoods. So by maintaining Mappa Street, we'll have that connectivity and the access to those residents through that area, along with emergency services. So we are proposing, again, to move forward as originally recommended with the reconstruction of Mappa Street to increase the street width as much as possible without getting into the steep slope on the east side. We'd have that new urban cross-section with the existing sidewalk replacement on the west side. It would include curb and gutter, and we would retain the existing retaining wall as much as possible with the project. I can take any questions if there are any.
I don't see any questions, Director Ness, so thank you.
Thank you.
There's no one signed up for this item, but does anyone like to speak from council chambers sitting there? You're welcome to come up now on street utility and sidewalk improvements on Mappa Street, Madison Street to Cameron Street. Okay, not seeing anyone. So we'll move on to item number 3, heavy vehicle parking in residential zones. This is a public hearing on ordinance amending Title 10.24, Vehicles and Traffic, and Title 17.03, Land Development Ordinance for heavy vehicle parking weights and conditional uses in residential zones. Looks like there's a postponement required. We have Mr. Noel. Oh, there you are.
Yes. Good evening, City Council
Yep.
President and council
Good evening.
members. Pleasure to be with you. This item was reviewed by the Plan Commission earlier, and they did postpone it to get some more research. So tomorrow you'll actually have to be required to postpone it as an action item, but we do have some material, and then you have to open up the public hearing if there's anybody interested, because this was public noticed. So the main gist of this is to look at this ordinance, which is a bit out of date in terms of the pounds. So 6,000 pounds is really not current anymore with vehicle classes. With our research, generally a lot of residential type vehicles are about 6 to up to about 10,000 pounds. So we recommended that in the ordinance to bump that up to 10,000 pounds. Again, these are vehicles that are used by residents, not for commercial purposes. Then some of the council members had some questions, some inquiry from a resident about to look at an option to allow heavier type vehicles in residential zones, which by the code right now are not permitted. This is typical in terms of what urban cities typically ban these type of uses in terms of diesel emissions, loud noises, difficult to screen. So these are some of the negative impacts. I won't go through all of them, but again, the pollution, the smells, the noises, the potential for outdoor storage, warehousing of commercial product within a residential zone, and so forth. Again, this is all in your staff report. And wear and tear on the road in terms of if the roads aren't built for trucks, what they can do to actually splinter and crack pavement as well. So again, looking at possible updating the ordinance to make it more consistent with the light duty classification from the Federal Highway Administration and how it's registered with the DMV with 10,000 pounds. And then you can see these other type vehicles minus the RVs, which are, again, used for residential purposes rather than the commercial type vehicles. This is all consistent with the FHA classification. The Plan Commission did have us take a look at what's licensed, and so you can see in the green class, typically up to a plate with an X on the label would be about 10,000 pounds. So consistent with the Federal Highway Administration, and then more pounds, more commercial type vehicles. We actually went out to a dealership, looked at these different vehicles to be more educated about this. One of our plan commissioners actually works at this facility. So we were able to see, if you can see kind of the threshold is your cargo vans rated for up to 10,000 pounds. So they want that extra capacity to be able to pull and haul and store things within the vehicle or in the trailer that might be towed by the vehicle, up to where you see a box truck, 12,000, 16,000 type pounds weighted, and then so on with the semi-truck. This, I won't go over the Madison. We did some research for different cities. Again, 10,000 pounds was what they do the threshold at. And this is the ordinance proposed. The conditional use permit option to allow a heavier vehicle over 10,000 pounds for commercial purposes. A lot of different restrictions to be able to allow this type of use, again, being mindful of the neighbors that might live next door. With that, we do have a public hearing.
Great, thank you. First, see if there's questions for you. Councilmember Serrano?
Thank you, Council President, and thank you, Mr. Noel. Can you, just for reference, can you tell us, like, what does a garbage truck weigh, or the maximum weight for a garbage truck or a city bus? Where
They
are
would be more in that class 7 weight there, as you can see, over 26,000 pounds. Again, there's a lot of variations to this general table or graphic. but
Imagine, yeah.
That's what you can expect.
Thank you.
Great. Councilmember Miller?
Thank you, Council President. Planner Noel, you said this needed to be postponed. Would postponing one set of meetings to the 23rd, 24th be sufficient, or do you need more time?
So it needs to go back to the Plan Commission, which would be their April 6th meeting. They can make a recommendation back to you so that you have their direction, and then you can vote on it, take formal action,
So our meeting of the April 13th and 14th would be appropriate?
unless they postpone again.
Sure, okay. All right, thank you.
Okay. Vice President Worthman? Oh, okay. You have a question for City Attorney? Oh. Oh, City Attorney Nick.
Yeah, thank you and appreciate it, Vice President Worthman. Just to Councilmember Miller's point, the statutory timeframe is 60 days. So whenever you have a Plan Commission postponement, one of the good ways to do it is just until Plan Commission is acted or up the next meeting after 60 days. That way that flexibility is afforded to Plan Commission, however much time they take, and we'll bring it back to you as soon as they're ready. Or if they fail to act within 60 days, you know it'll come back to you right after that period. But the reason it is a required postponement is because by state law, Plan Commission gets up to 60 days to act on these zoning matters.
Thank you. Vice President Worthman?
Thank you, Council President. Two quick questions. One is, this would allow for conditional use permit for the medium duty and potentially heavy duty. Would those both come under a conditional?
Correct.
Okay. And then were trailers considered as a part of this? Because I often see a lot of pretty sizable and heavy duty trailers that are also in neighborhoods. Is that just a separate thing?
Right, thank you for the question. That would be something where staff could do some more research. The Madison ordinance example does start to restrict trailers, but generally people that are hauling cargo, they're looking to have a larger classification for their license plate so that they can actually haul and, do that sort of work that they need to do.
Thanks.
I don't see other questions, so thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, great. You read my mind. Thank you. Okay, thanks. All right. We have one person signed up, Craig.
Madam President,
Hi, welcome.
council members, I was here 2 months ago.
Yep.
I'm just looking for a parking permit for my truck, and everything that the last gentleman brought up is all true. I agree that the weight limits have to be raised on like the plumber vans and stuff like that to 10 or probably 14,000, because a lot of them weigh more than 10,000. My truck, I'm licensed for 80,000. So I'm not at 80,000 all the time, but what I'm looking for is I'm backing off of a truck route across a sidewalk that I maintain onto my own property. Across the street, there's a couple of businesses that are commercial, and I get the road thing. That happens if there's trucks on roads. They're heavier, they're gonna work on the blacktop or cement. FedEx is right across the street, and they're up and down, in and out
A lot.
15, 16 hours a day, constantly. So I started, I don't know if it's called a petition, but I've got a bunch of signatures from all of my neighbors. Everyone that I asked signed it, said, okay. The two that didn't sign it, they weren't home. I went both of them twice, but they're out of town. Nobody has a problem as far as my neighbors of parking there or backing in. A couple of them said, they like that the truck is sitting there because they know that if there's a truck driver sitting there, he's probably mean. So whatever that means. So I'm just looking for a time frame, or what do I need to do to get a parking permit? Again, Eau Claire is not truck friendly. There's no truck parking. If there is, they want $1,000 a month. And now with fuel prices, I mean, until the rates come up, I can't afford to pay that. Madison was brought up. So Madison their streets are a lot narrower and a lot smaller, and everything's a lot tighter. I've delivered multiple loads in Madison. I do landscape shingles, or landscape rock, shingles, steel, lumber, and my truck is down there. It's hard to get around. Eau Claire streets are truck friendly as far as making corners and the roundabouts and everything. It's just, I'm not, I guess, I don't know if Advocate is looking for everybody else to park. I was just looking at, and people in my situation, it should be a one-off. If somebody else drives a semi and he's looking, that needs to be looked at his situation. In mine, I think I've got a pretty good argument living on a truck route and, back in, and all my neighbors, I mean, I can have somebody take a picture. It was brought up about, taking time backing in. I got a very smart trailer. I mean, I'm very good at what I do, so I don't waste, I don't hold anybody up. The noise, none of my neighbors, I mean, I leave it at like 4:30 in the morning, every morning. None of them ever said a word. Half a dozen of them came over last night and said, hey, good luck tomorrow. It's like, I mean, so I'm just looking for a little compassion here, with fuel rates. And I mean, if I have to park somewhere else, I'm gonna have that cost, then I have to commute to and from. Not that this means anything. I haven't commuted to my job in 40 years. I mean, I've always said, my truck is always parked at my place. I get the rules and regulations. I mean, so I'm just looking for some kind of path that I need to follow. I mean, I don't know, I haven't looked into any of the laws about me parking on the road, but if I park on Seymour overnight, it's gonna be a one-lane road. I mean, I can get right to the curb, it's not wide enough, so not a good idea. I mean, can I right now legally? Probably, until a no parking sign gets put up. So I'm kind of between a rock and a hard place, so I'm just trying to figure out where I need to be at.
Okay, well, I think, thank you for coming down. And if you have specific questions, I think Councilmember Schoen, do you have a question?
I do.
Yep,
Thank
okay.
you, Council President Berge. I know you mentioned that you maintain your own sidewalk, and I know you and I have talked, actually, Craig,
Yes.
about this. But just to clarify, could you share what you mean by that in terms of, spending your own money to maintain that sidewalk and reinforce it?
When I bought the house, the sidewalk was in a little tough shape, and I had poured some cement to park my truck on, and I redid a couple of the slabs of the sidewalk, and I went a lot thicker. So I don't consider that it would be the city's responsibility if it did get tore up, which actually they came and redid a bunch of water lines and stuff, and they poured 2 new slabs on the side, and I don't even drive on that, and that's already starting to break up, and I don't know who I should call there. And it's not bad, but I consider it's my maintenance. I'm the one. I'm not driving a pickup or a car or a motorcycle, and I am backing a semi on, across it. but I take full responsibility to keep it maintained. I mean, and again, you can contact any of the people on my list. One guy said to me last night, he's like, "You're the reason our taxes are going up because you're making your place look so darn nice." It's like, so you're welcome. I don't know.
That's fun.
That's about all I
Okay.
have.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yep,
Yeah,
thank you.
thanks for coming down. Would anyone else like to speak on this topic of heavy vehicle parking in residential zones? All right, not seeing anyone. So then we will move on to item number 4. Let's do it now. This is the city council vacancy. So this is a public discussion regarding the process to fill the vacancy on the city council. And City Clerk Kerner, look at you, yeah.
Thank you, Council President. So for this item, due to Emily Anderson resigning effective last Friday, the 6th, there is an open spot on the City Council. The council has 3 choices in front of them. They can appoint a successor to serve the term. They can leave the seat open until the next election in 2027, or they can order a special election, which would overlap with the August and November deadlines for elections, and then that person wouldn't be appointed to the position until November, and then they would have to run again in April.
Okay.
So in the packet I gave you, there is a proposed schedule and timeline, so that's why I'm asking for your approval.
Okay, great. Thank you. Let me see if there's any questions for, yep. Oh, no more questions. He answered it. I don't see any questions, so thank you, City Clerk. Is there anyone from council chambers like to speak on this issue, on the city council vacancy and the different options? On either appointment or leave the seat open till 2027 or have a special election in August or November? Anyone has any comments? Oh, Councilmember Miller?
If it's not too late, may I ask the city clerk a question?
Yes. We do have a question
I
for
had a
you.
question for you that I didn't quite catch until you left. Sorry about that. Thank you. So in your proposed timeline, you had that council would vote on the appointment on Tuesday, April 14th. I do believe we have the organizational meeting the week thereafter on April 21st, but you know what? I misread this. Everything's great. Thank you.
Oh, good. You just had to stand up. Okay. Back to anyone in council chambers like to weigh in on this issue. It's a great opportunity to let us know what you think before we vote on it tomorrow. No? Oh, okay, great. Come on down. Okay. Just want to state your name and address, please. Yeah. You know the drill.
Scott Bolstead, 603 Katy Lane. I advise against the special election because I heard the city's broke. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. No special election. Okay. Any other comments from council chambers? All right. Then we'll close that item, public hearing, and go on to parking restrictions near Robbins Elementary. This is a public discussion on an ordinance attending Table 9 entitled Parking During Specified Hours of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Eau Claire to add parking restrictions near Robbins Elementary School on East Hamilton Avenue and Hastings Way East Frontage Road in response to concerns received about pedestrian and traffic safety. And Director Ness will be back to speak to us on this.
Good evening again.
Good evening again.
Here are 2 exhibits that are within the packet tonight related to the request for no parking. The school reached out to us regarding the drop-off pickup time and just the concern of traffic safety and student safety, pedestrians walking through the area during that time frame, and are requesting to have no parking along the north side of the East Frontage Road and then the east side of the Hastings Way Frontage Road. As shown, this is a little bit larger picture. It's hard to see with the aerial in there, but right along the school property there. We went out, we looked at the existing conditions along the west side of Pine Lodge Road. We do have that zoned currently for loading and unloading, so that's where the parents do the drop-off pickup. And that's on the east side of the school there. Then the buses circulate along the frontage road. So that's where this proposal will help with the circulation and the safety. On the north side of there's that triangular parcel. There was like a duplex apartment kind of condo building built there. We did sign adjacent to that, no parking, related to the fear. I believe we had that discussion during Plan Commission of that site plan of overflow tenants parking on the street and blocking bus circulation. So there is existing no parking there. But this proposal came in from the school to just assist with the drop-off pickup timeframes. And it would be from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. during school days. If there's any questions, I could take those.
I don't see questions for you, Director Ness.
A comment.
Oh, wait. Oh, a question?
Thank you, Council President. It's
Well, we knew comments
Yeah,
tomorrow,
yeah.
but a
So-
question?
So as you said, my kids went here. So the apartment there, that's Ben Road apartment. So as you come from Amaton Avenue, so you take left into Rabin Elementary School, I feel like when you drop your kids off or pick your kids, instead of, as you get out, instead of taking left, you should go toward the light, I think, toward the light, toward Harvest Church, then they can come out.
And circle around the block.
Yep.
Instead of making that left turn.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't see other questions, so thank you, Director Ness. And if someone could, you're on it. Great. Thank you. Okay. So no one has signed up for number 5, but would anyone like to speak on this in council chambers about parking around Robbins Elementary? Okay, not seen anyone. We'll close that public hearing. Now we will talk about parking restrictions on Davis Avenue and Summit Street. This is a public discussion on an ordinance amending Table 8 entitled Parking Prohibited of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Eau Claire to add parking restrictions on Davis Avenue and Summit Street for increased traffic safety. Director Ness.
Thanks again. This
Thank
is
you.
a location that was called in again for safety concerns. It's along a corner between Summit Street and Davis Avenue near Mount Tom. And park users and residents tend to park on the inside of this corner. So by restricting parking through here, we would be increasing just the site visibility. It's a very narrow street as well. So it would allow for a car to maneuver if another vehicle is coming through this, the opposite direction. This resolution would also solidify the no parking on East Hamilton that I just spoke about near Robbins School. That was also included in the resolution in the language. But the west side of Davis and north side of Summit are the areas of concern that were brought forward to us from the residents in this area and just daily traffic traveling through here. This actually was brought to Waterways and Parks and approved at their last meeting as well. And I can take any questions if there's questions related to this item.
I don't see questions, so thank you, Director Ness.
Thank you.
And no one is signed up to speak on this item, but anyone in council chambers like to speak on the parking prohibited to add parking restrictions on Davis Avenue and Summit Street? Okay, not seeing anyone, so we'll move on to water utility rate increase. This is a public discussion regarding a conventional rate case to increase the water utility rates by 20.04% within the City of Eau Claire schedule of fees and licenses effective April 1st, 2026. You are not Director Winters.
I am not. So my name's Cassandra North, and I work in the accounting department. Good evening, Council President and
Good
Council
evening.
members. The item before you today is an update to the water rates listed on the fees and license schedule to align with the new tariff issued by the Public Service Commission January of 2026. The city applied to the Wisconsin Public Service Commission for a conventional rate case on July 31st, 2025. Following a review of the application and the utility financials, the PSC provided new rates. A public hearing was then held on January 20th, 2026. Following the public hearing, the PSC issued new tariff and billing rates on January 28, 2026. The new tariff reflects a PSC-approved 20% rate increase of water utility rates. The rate increase will take effect on April 1st, 2026, and will not affect the storm or sewer water charges on the customer's utility bill. The increase is necessary due to a 20.5% increase in gross planned investments and a 17.5% increase in operating expenses since the last conventional rate case. The PSC does recommend regular filings of rate cases to allow the utility to keep up with operational and capital costs. Some of those benefits include reasonable rate increases, keeping rate designs up to date and fair. It provides a review of the accounting records in PSC annual reports to ensure regulatory compliance, keeps tariffs current and accurate, and provides a review of customer billing for accuracy. This table shows the rate history from 2009 to 2026, showing our last conventional rate increase was a two-step in 2021 and 2022. Here's a slide that shows the current water rates for an average residential utility bill compared to the new rates that will be in the PSC tariff.
Is there an error on the, it looks like the 12, the new rate is less than the 13 quarterly public fire charge, or is that correct?
That is correct. The
Okay.
public fire charge did have an 11% decrease.
Okay, well, that's great. Okay, thank you.
Yes. And then the final slide shows the Eau Claire water rates with the new rates compared to similar municipalities in Wisconsin.
Okay.
So with that, if there's any questions?
Yeah, Councilmember Serrano?
Thank you, Council President Berge, and thank you. Can we back up a few slides here, please? One more, that one. So can you explain again? You said, and again, this is really for the public's benefit, but that we had the last rate increase was 21, 22. It was a two-step increase. And then can you talk a little bit about the 2024 and 2025 simplified? It looks like those were rate increases as well.
They were, yes. So the conventional rate increase is an application and a full review of the utility financials, where the simplified rate case is an inflationary increase, so that's more of a set percentage that is increased over our current rates.
All right, thank you.
Councilmember Brewster?
Thank you, Council President. I was wondering if you could maybe discuss how much of this is impacted by our efforts to get the PFAS out of our water. Is that a part of this, or is this independent of that?
A little bit of both. So the operations and maintenance increases related to PFAS, like the testing, that would have been included in this rate case, but the actual infrastructure that we're currently building as the PFAS facility is not currently in these rates.
I feel like I'm going to sneeze, but Vice President Worthman. Oh, okay. Thank Councilmember Miller.
Thank you, Council President. Ms. North, so the two number cited back a few slides. There was a 20.5% plant investment cost and then a 17.5%, yes, operating expense. So the plant investments, were those like one-time capital investments in the plant that are being recuperated by a potential rate change?
So the increase in the gross plant investments is related to the North and South Basin project that was done in 2020, 2021. Our last rate case was prior to that. But the increase in gross plant investments is an ongoing dollar amount. So like it's a new gross plant investments amount, but it increased because of capital projects that have been done since the last conventional rate case.
Okay, and then the 17.5% increase for operating expenses, that's just ongoing year to year. Every year we're pretty much paying 17% more than we did when the last rate increase went into effect?
Right, so in 2020, it was the last time that the conventional rate case was done, so it's saying any operating and maintenance expenses have increased 17.5% since 2020.
Okay, so given those two things combined, this rate case is basically just saying this is how much it costs us to provide water service to the city, and we have to pay for it?
Yes,
the short of it?
It's what the PSC has stated we would need to charge to stay financially stable, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Councilmember Schoen?
Thank you, Council President Berge. And thank you, Ms. North, for your presentation. I think it's really helpful. I have a question. I hope it's not too confusing, but I know that council members have been contacted by a lot of constituents asking us to vote no on this or asking if there's a way we could do this in phases. And I'm just wondering if you could help us understand, which I know Councilmember Miller sort of spoke to this, but if council were to not approve this, what are the consequences? Which my understanding is the expense is still there and it would worsen our deficit that we're working to address already. But I'm just wondering if you could talk us through the consequences of a no vote, and also maybe explain again why it's so important that our residents get access to clean, healthy water.
Kind of in two parts. First, it is what the Public Service Commission does state we would need to charge in order to remain financially stable and provide clean water to the ratepayers. Additionally, and this may be something that Attorney Nick could clarify on, but the Public Service Commission has already issued a tariff with a new effective date of April 1st. Since we had provided the application, they've reviewed it and they've issued these new rates and held the public hearing in January. So I'm not sure what a no vote would mean.
City Attorney Nick? That's a great question. I had the same question, so.
Yeah, the discretionary action for council was before you in your budget and in your action where you applied for the PSC for a rate increase. So then the PSC reviews it, considers it, and issues an order. So this is implementing that order, but this is part of maintaining your utility and an outcome of your vote to apply for the rate case, which is a good vote. I mean, it's what you need to do to maintain the viability of your utility. But at this point, it's a PSC order that we need to implement locally.
Great. As we answer the questions, could you go to the slide that where it actually shows the increase, like the bill? Yeah, thanks. Okay, Councilmember Mboga?
Yeah, thank you, Council President. So, thank you for your presentation. My question is, I have two questions. One is this rate apply to residents or also apply to heavy users like Mayo Hospital, Massfield Clinic, and other business in Eau Claire?
The rate increase is applied to all water users in the city of Eau Claire.
Okay, okay, great. You have another follow-up?
Yeah, this is for, I don't know, it's for you. So I had the opportunity today to talk to a lot of residents, and the residents have told him they say they were emotional, saying that we, the city council, we are out of touch with this, what's going on with our residents. With what's happening now, we're going to increase the water rate, where previously the taxes has been going up. Can you answer this question for me, please?
So it might be more of a policy decision. I can say that, kind of going back to this slide right here, the PSC does recommend regular conventional rate cases, and our last one was done in 2020. So it's been about, around that 5-year mark since our last one. If we don't do regular rate increases, we will end up with significantly higher increases at one time. Instead of 20%, you could see significantly higher increases instead of more gradual increases with more regular conventional rate cases. But the specific timing may be a policy decision. So.
Okay. City Attorney Nick, did you have something to say? No? Okay. City Manager Hirsch?
There's a lot of, it's just a very basic question of how do you support city services with our budget, and we just had a discussion about cutting other places where we can cut. So that might be the solution, but this is one that is required by the state.
Okay. Looks like I'm going to go to, well, actually, Vice President Worthman and then Councilmember Otto.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you for this presentation. I wonder, back to the PFAS question is, I think one of the things I keep hearing from people is that, we've put in a lot of money into infrastructure to clean up these chemicals from our water. Something like $24 million has to get paid back. Now, I know some of that is in litigation right now. And I think the concern that I have, and maybe the question is as we potentially settle more of those cases, does that help impact at least the infrastructure cost that this is covering?
Yes, it can help if the settlements are applied towards the infrastructure. It could be considered contributed capital, which would help with regards to the gross net investment in plant. That is based on the rates.
Can I ask a follow-up? But that doesn't necessarily change. Would that change a future year's request then on a full rate case?
Yes, if there would be any impact, it would be on a future rate case.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, great. We'll just do these 2 questions and then we'll move on to the public because they're waiting to speak. So, Councilmember Otto.
Great. Thank you, Council President. Thank you for your presentation. In talking with some of my constituents, a concern is that this rate increase feels like it's a surprise, coming so large, the biggest since around 2020, the biggest in 5 years, rather than a gradual ramp up. So just so I'm clear, the reason is the council made water safer through the PFAS initiatives, and now is the time to pay for that initiative. Is that right? Or is there another reason that the increase hasn't been more gradual over the last 5 years?
So we have had some gradual increases in between the conventional rate cases, and so we had a simplified in 24 and 25. But the conventional rate cases do an overall review of our financials, and so unlike the simplified where it's just a flat increase based on inflation, it does have a bigger picture review of our financials. And so higher rate increases can be expected on those full reviews that are done every 5 years or so. With that said, there have been increased operations and maintenance expenses related to PFAS. And so you are feeling some of that with these new rates.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And Councilmember Miller.
Thank you, Council President. A quick question. If you go back to the slide with 16 CCFs was cited here. Is that the median water uses per household in the city of Eau Claire?
That is the average for a 3/4 inch residential.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you for answering all those questions from council.
Thank you, council members.
Thank you. I do have 2 people signed up, and then I'll open up to council chambers. So first, Scott Bolstead. Hello, welcome.
Hey, Scott Bolstead, 603 Katy Lane.
Just a minute, Scott. Can you put on the light, please? Thank you. And go.
Go. All right. This is not necessary. I didn't know the PSC approved it already, so it doesn't matter what anybody in this room says, it's here. However, if the PFAS upgrade is not included in this, wait until you see the next one. So that's all I have. Thanks.
Thanks, Scott. Okay, and then Herbert? Hi, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm Herbert from 1417 Ben Court, Eau Claire. And I got a few questions here because we are looking at the rates that's being put up before us here. And when I looked at this, and it looks like it's already predetermined solution. So that way, no matter what we discuss here, it's already been determined that it's got to be increased. So when we are, to me, my concern or my worry is we're looking at how things are going. Since 2021 up to now, there's been a rapid increase on our water bills. So now my concern, are we really putting this into consideration of how each and every one of us are living economically? Because one thing that concerns me, because I looked at that slide, some of the slides is comparing Eau Claire to some other cities or mostly some of the cities in Wisconsin. But I looked at it and said, Eau Claire is not near those cities. So we cannot increase our rates based on what those other cities like Fond du Lac, Appleton, those are big cities compared to Eau Claire. So my concern is, or my question is to the Department of Water Department, what are the driving forces causing these rates to go up? Is it being determined from the state, or the city is requesting this to be done? So that's my concern.
Okay. Yes, thank you. And we can't answer your question now, but I wrote them down, and someone will follow up with you, Herbert.
Thank you,
So
please.
thank you for coming down. Okay. Anyone else in council chambers like to speak on this water utility rate? Not seen anyone. Okay. Then we'll close that item. Got lots of papers. And then we'll go on to item 8. So tax transparency and public education. It's a public discussion on a resolution to support tax transparency in public education. So, and actually, I am bringing this forward along with Councilmember Miller for council's consideration for tomorrow during our legislative session. So I'll just speak on it, and then I'll make Councilmember Miller like to speak on it, and then we can answer any questions council has. So yeah, and then we'll open up the public hearing. But basically, so this, what we'll be voting on, is to put, it's a bit about tax transparency. Well, I don't know where I'd do with it. But to put how much of our property taxes go to funds, and then it's a state mandated private schools or state mandated vouchers. So it will be on our property tax bills, and we'll get the numbers from our schools. And we've talked to our school board members, we talked to school staff. We've also talked with the county and the city staff, so we've had some really good discussion over the last several weeks. And it's basically, again, just so the public is aware, is how much of our public property taxes go to support state mandated private school vouchers. So it's really just a tax transparency legislation, just so people are aware where their public dollar goes. So I'll leave it at that. And then Councilmember Miller.
Yes, thank you, Council President. As stated, this was a request that was given to the City Council. The school board passed a resolution. You know, the school board is also an elected body, just like City Council is. You know, they are in charge of the Eau Claire Area School District, whereas we are in charge of the City of Eau Claire. And we received their resolution asking for this information to be printed on tax bills, because the public school money allocation, you know, varies from year to year with the budget of the state, but given with the school voucher program, that's a fixed cost. So no matter what the school district's cost rises are realized, you know, they are obligated to set a certain portion of the levy raised for the the school voucher program, and many people in the city and in the school district aren't aware of the amount. So this is a state tax transparency resolution. It would just simply state exactly how much money per year goes to these schools to give people the information, because that's like, in City of Eau Claire got X number of dollars from the state, but then we had to give, some company, $2.9 million, and it came out of the city's coffers, and the people of the town didn't know about it. I would like people to know about it, because that just shows you where your tax money is going. So we are doing this for the school district on their behalf, I support this resolution for tax transparency.
Yeah, I'll say one more clarification too, that the money that goes to the voucher program, initially when the state legislature passed it, it came out of the general fund of the state. However, they changed it, so now that money comes directly out of our school budget so they take a chunk of money, then they give it to private school vouchers, and then that means that our schools have to raise our property taxes to fill in that hole. So again, just that transparency, just for people to understand where our tax dollars go. So, and the resolution outlines all of this as well. So, any questions by council members on this? Then we'll open up to public hearing. Councilmember Otto?
Oh, thank you, Council President. I can't imagine this would be expensive at all to implement, but do we have any idea what type of administrative costs this extra little step would incur?
It would be pretty minimal, and that was part of our conversation with the school board. So I think, I'm not actually sure where the cost is gonna, they're open to it, but we did say in here, right, about, to not exceed $2,000, so. Mhm. Any other questions? And we'll save comments for tomorrow, but, okay, not seeing any. All right, go to let's see. So we have 3 people signed up, but there are a lot of people signed up on the public comment period, so I'm wondering if some people meant to speak during this. So if you're here to talk about the tax transparency resolution, this is the time to speak. So, but first we have Pa Tao. Hi, welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to show my support for the tax transparency and public education resolution. My name is Pa Tao, and I live at 2478 70th Street. As both a homeowner and a school board member, I strongly encourage the Eau Claire City Council to vote yes on informing Eau Claire property taxpayers of the annual amount diverted from the Eau Claire School District to fund private school vouchers. Our community deserves honesty and transparency about where their tax dollars are going. Each year, local taxpayers are required to cover the cost of private school vouchers through the district's levy. This places additional strain on the financial stability of our school system. As a school board member, I also see firsthand how difficult it is for our school district to balance budgets while maintaining strong programming and services for our students. As a homeowner, I also understand the real impact property tax have on families. When local dollars are redirected to cover state voucher mandates, it contributes to the financial pressure that lead districts to ask voters to consider referendums and increase our property tax. Our residents deserve to know how much of their local tax levy is being used to fund private school vouchers. Statewide, the amount levied from the property taxpayers to fund private school vouchers has nearly reached $1 billion annually. That is a significant public investment, and our communities like ours, deserve to understand and see how these policies affect our local schools and our local taxpayers. Providing this information is about trust, accountability, and giving residents the full picture of how their tax dollars are being used. So I want to thank you, Emily Berge and Josh Miller, for taking the steps to provide transparency that has never clearly been provided when the state legislature created and expanded private voucher programs. Thank you for your leadership and your commitment to transparency for the people of Eau Claire.
Thanks, Pa.
Thank you.
Okay, and we have Gail Homestead. Or did she leave? Oh, no, there she is. Hi, welcome.
Good evening, and thank you, council members and President Berge. My name is Gail Homestead, and I live at 816 Porter Avenue in Eau Claire. And I want to thank you, to all of you, for providing the transparency that the legislature never did when they created and expanded the many vouchers that exist today. I think Pat Howard said, the amount statewide that is levied from taxpayers has grown to approximately $1 billion. Let me say that again, $1 billion. As a community member, I have worked on several referendum committees, and it's really not a very pleasant task to ask people to raise their own taxes in order to keep programs in place and to keep the lights on. Nor is it a sustainable way to support our public schools. So, thank you for providing the opportunity to make this transparent, and a big thank you to the Eau Claire committee or community that has voted to pass these in several past attempts.
Thanks. Thank you, Gail. Okay. And then Chris Humbach-Boyle. Hi, welcome.
Good evening, City Council. President Berge, I've been here one other time thanking you for your work on this, and tonight I have come to thank you and the Eau Claire Area School District for exploring this and being able to be part of two amazing public entities work together on this. That was really nice to see. Thank you for your work on the taxpayer transparency resolution that allows Eau Claire property taxpayers to have total awareness of where their taxes are going, especially the diversion of the $2.9 million from the Eau Claire Area School District's budget. And many of the vouchers, the state mandated vouchers that this money is being used for, the vouchers have never been public school students. 80% in a lot of the data that's been looked at, 80% of those vouchers are going to those that are already in private schools. And the amounts keep getting raised every year. So I don't need to reiterate what Gail and Pa have said, except that we should all be proud that we're building on awareness, which will benefit all children and taxpayers in Eau Claire, but also in the state of Wisconsin. Eau Claire is not the only community doing this. We have a long list of communities that are doing the same thing. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Chris. Actually, I have a question for you. Can you talk about how the caps will be taken off? And may I explain what that means?
Yeah, there is a cap, a certain percentage per district that could, when you look at the population of the district, that it was like a 1% or whatever. There are many, many districts in the state of Wisconsin that have not reached that cap, okay? But there are some that have. And I watch the data, I keep track of that. I watched this wave coming from the eastern part of the state over. And the increases that I've looked at as far as Senate districts and things like that are, it goes from 1 million in 1 year. And there's been lots of different, I don't know if you're aware, there's like 4 different voucher programs. First it was the Racine program, then it was 2 years later the Wisconsin Parental Choice Program that went across the state of Wisconsin. Then it was a special needs scholarship, which is for kids with special needs, although when private schools use those vouchers, those special needs vouchers, they can kind of pick and choose who they take. The miracle of public schools that we take all. And now there's another wave, and we were just hit in the Chippewa Valley for new independent charter schools, which again take a state mandated voucher as well. The other thing too is the some certain, some sufficient thing. I don't know if you've heard about that, is when the vouchers were legislated, they are sum sufficient, meaning the vouchers get their full value. So if you take the education budget, the vouchers, the four vouchers that I told you, they are guaranteed that amount of money. Your public schools are paid some certain, we get what's left over. So when you hear about special ed not being funded right now, it's because so much is going that there wasn't enough even for the promise of a 4.2% special ed for your public schools. So this just builds on awareness. We're not against choice for people at all, just the impact of how this was set up over time. That's just not working for the 800,000 kids in our public schools.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks. Okay. All right. Anyone else that would like to speak on this? That was the end of my list. Anyone like to speak? Yep, in the back. Yep. Just want to state your name and address, please. Hi, welcome.
Thank you. My name is Kimberly Hill, and I live at 1302 Taft Avenue. Thank you for giving this time for comments from us, and thank you for considering this resolution. I believe that the evidence is really clear that public schools keep communities strong and healthy, and they keep our economy strong. And when I look at my tax bill and it tells me how much money is going to the public schools, I feel okay about that. But it took me quite a while to figure out that that's not accurate. So when I look at it, I think that whole chunk of the pie is going to our public school. But it's not, because some of that money is going to our private schools. And so I appreciate that you're doing this, and I just wanted to speak in support of the resolution. Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you for coming down. Anyone else like to speak? Yep, come on. Just name and address, please.
Sure, I'm Julia, 1537 Lindell Avenue.
Welcome.
I also just want to speak to say thank you for considering this and supporting it. It's really important that we do everything we can to try to understand better how the state budget works, and this is a great step in that direction, especially because we've seen, maybe some of us know and some of us don't know the impact of it still. So it's really important that we understand that.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak on this? Okay. Just want to make sure. All right. Okay. I have to find I have like 8 million papers up here. Oh, we have someone else? Oh, yeah. Sorry. Come on down. See, I know if I pause long enough, usually someone wants to come down. So, welcome. Just want to state your name and address, please.
Charles Wilkinson, 602 Grover Road. Thank you, President Berge and fellow council members. When we talk about transparency, I'm hearing a lot of things about dollars going from the public system to the private system. Are we talking about how many people, how many students are leaving the public system, which should save the public system some money, and going to the private system? Transparency is both the numbers and the dollars. I'm familiar with a lot of private schools, and they're doing a phenomenal job with their students. And obviously, there's a lot of people that feel the public schools are doing great too. But let's be transparent on both sides.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for coming down. And anyone else like to speak? Okay. Well, while you think about it, I'm going to look. Oh, here, I found my sheet, actually. Okay. Anyone else? This is your last. And then there are a lot of people signed up. So if you want to speak about the school transparency taxes, this is your time. You can't speak later about it. So just making sure everyone understands that. Okay. All right. Then we will close that public hearing. And then we will go to our public comment period. So we do have different rules for this part. So this is, you have 3 minutes to speak. You need to live or work or have a place of business in the city of Eau Claire to speak during this time. And this will also last for 20 minutes. Council can vote to extend it, but it does end after 20 minutes initially. This is for citywide issues, so like citywide applications, so only things about citywide issues. We will not hear any like personal complaints of city staff or elected officials. Again, it's about issues and things of the citywide issue. So with that, we have several people signed up. So first up, we have Adam Nelson. Hi, welcome.
Hi, good evening, Council President, council members. My name's Adam Nelson. I live and work in the city of Eau Claire. I'm from 908 Vine Street. I'm here on behalf of the Amalgamated Transit Union. I'm the current president. We've been discussing transit, getting rid of dollars for transit, but as the city looks to the future of microtransit and paratransit, we believe there is a strong case for operating both services in-house. Current microtransit, we believe, has failed to live up to its current contract costs and the terms. First, bringing service in-house keeps accountability and oversight directly with the city. When transit is operated by the public agency, decisions about safety, training, service quality remain directly accountable to the community and the riders who depend on it. Second, operating those services within the existing transit system could create better coordination and efficiency. Our system already has supervisors, maintenance, trained operators who understand the community and the riders we serve. Integrating the services into that structure can reduce duplication and improve reliability. We also recognize that the city is facing a budget deficit and fiscal responsibility is critical. Our goal is not to ignore those challenges, but to make sure we choose solutions that provide long-term value, strong service, and clear public accountability. We believe transit works best when it is locally accountable and integrated into the system that already serves the community. For those reasons, we believe it should be brought in-house. And for reference, for the numbers somebody was asking about, as of the January Transit Commission meeting, microtransit has served 1,200 passengers, giving them rides, which has come to an estimate of about $230 per ride based on their contract. And it will go down just because it's 7 months worth, 12.
Okay. Thank you for coming down. Oh, it beeped at you. Yeah. It's exciting. Yeah. They really liked what you had to say. Okay, Julia, did you want to speak again? Yep, come on down. Hello again.
Should I say my address again?
Sure.
Okay. Julia Benker, 1537 Lindell Avenue. I'm speaking in response to the last 2 work sessions I've seen about the budget. I'm really concerned there's not more opportunity for public input, and waiting for this moment is disheartening, especially as a bus rider who relies on service at the end of the day. That's me. I'm one of those 135 people you were talking about, right in the room with you. So I'm wondering how we can have that conversation go a little more smoothly and harmoniously, and like Larry said, including more people. I think that's a really important part of a city that works for everybody, is to hearing all the voices and not being afraid of conflict and working through the problems as they come up so that we can build something together that makes more sense. If we can't have the tough conversations, and if we just go off agenda and spitball for 30 minutes and go over the meeting anyway, that's not what this is. It's not going to lead where we need to go. So I'm just calling for more input on this budget process, and I appreciate those of you who are bringing up the constituents, because it's our city and it needs to make more sense when we talk about it and when we're listening to you talk about it also. Thank you.
Thanks, Julia. Okay. Jessica Peterson. Hi. Welcome.
I'm Jessie Peterson. I am the Regional Commissioner of AYSO, so thank you for letting me come up here and speak with you, President, and the rest of you, the council here. I just want to take this opportunity to speak about the future management of the Eau Claire Soccer Park. The park is one of the most important sports facilities in the community, according to me. Hundreds of children and families rely on this each season, and deciding who manages it directly impacts the affordability and the future of recreational soccer in our community. There are several organizations interested in operating this park. However, AYSO, with the support of Eau Claire United, is one of the best options that we feel when we align with the core purpose of public and community soccer park. AYSO is built entirely around a volunteer-driven recreational youth soccer. Their mission is simple: every child plays. Their program structure keeps costs low, encourages community involvement, ensures that soccer remains accessible to families regardless of income and their experiences. If a third-party organization were to come in and manage the soccer park, the structure and the priorities could change the way that impact local families. For an example, some organizations operate under a membership model. They provide valuable services, and participation can require memberships and additional program fees. That structure may cause financial burdens for families who currently participate in the AYSO Soccer League because it is a voluntary-based program. Another consideration is field access. If another organization oversees the facility, field times may need to be shared across multiple programs, tournaments, or rentals. That could reduce the availability for the community soccer. Most importantly, if AYSO does not have access to the soccer park under a new management structure, the organization may not be able to continue operating locally, which means hundreds of children will lose the program where they can feel safe and appreciated. This decision is not just about operations. It's about preserving affordable recreational opportunities for the families of Eau Claire, ensuring that the soccer park remains in a community center facility. AYSO's structure, mission, and volunteer base is to continue serving local families while keeping participation accessible. I encourage the council to carefully consider which is the best option to protect youth access to the park in long-term future for recreational soccer in our community. Thank you for our time.
Thank you. Thanks for coming down. Okay, and then Debbie? Or no, Dieter. Is it Dieter? Decker, okay. What is it? Decker, sorry, Decker. I can see the D and the E.
Thank you, President. I know they're trying to say my name, so.
Welcome.
Good evening, Council President and City Council members. My name is Decker Fobb. I am the Section 6 Director of the American Youth Soccer Organization. My territory includes AYSO Region 803 here at the Eau Claire Soccer Park. Along with the other members here today, I am also an unpaid volunteer, and I care about this organization, and I look to grow soccer in communities throughout my territory. I traveled here today from Dubuque, Iowa, on my own time to show my support for the local AYSO region, as well as share with the City Council the abundant support and resources that your local AYSO program has, not just locally, but throughout the upper Midwest and through AYSO's national presence. In my conversations with our AYSO Wisconsin director, Ashley Troutman, and the other local leaders, I made it clear that we not only have a duty to protect the interests of AYSO, but also the entire local soccer ecosystem. We see all the other soccer groups as partners in this venture, as there is mutual benefit for us to protect the Eau Claire Soccer Park and expand enrollment across all soccer programs in the area. Aside from running a quality program, it is critical to keep costs low. This means more usage, more players, and not just under AYSO. Besides the fact that the Eau Claire AYSO soccer program is the larger of the soccer offerings in the area, our AYSO section is also large and full of resources, with over 50 regions and 30,000 players ranging from Kansas and Nebraska to Iowa, Wisconsin, and the Chicago suburbs. We have many regions that manage their own soccer facilities. Nationally, AYSO has nearly 400,000 participants and has positively impacted communities for over 60 years. Between Jesse, Ashley, their board members, and the over 35 years of AYSO in this community, I am confident that in their ability to maintain the facility and keep soccer local and thriving in the Eau Claire area. On top of that, I am confident that they have a knowledgeable support system as they navigate this new venture. The local region has already began forming plans on how to operate the facility, including creating budgets and a list of responsibilities. With our concept of a volunteer-driven facility management paired with a locally paid services for like groundskeeping, maintenance, items like that, this region can operate the facility very efficiently and at a dramatically lower cost than most. I've also been rest assured that the local region is able to allocate at least a year's worth of operating budget to ensure the facility will operate with little concern of running out of funds. I appreciate City Council giving the Chippewa Valley Soccer League this opportunity to maintain this critical facility and allow them to continue providing world-class youth soccer that enriches children's lives. I got 10
Great.
seconds to spare.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. And then Jill Millis? Hi, welcome.
Hi, thank you. Jill Millis, 2709 Calumet Road. I'm the president of Eau Claire Youth Hockey, and I also work for the UW Eau Claire Foundation. As a proud Blue Gold alum, we'd made a choice to live in this community and bring our family here. Over 10 years ago, because of the type of opportunities that this city provides for our children. And I'm standing here today to talk again about, we've just heard about from soccer, but from Hobbs Ice Arena. Just a quick look this morning. Since October through last week, my family spent about 200 hours at Hobbs Ice Arena just for practices and games. That doesn't even include the time we spent watching our friends play, watching our local high school teams, or watching our Blue Golds play. Hobbs Ice Arena is like a second home to us, and that is, my family is certainly not unique. We have over 300 families in our 300 skaters in our organization. Our numbers have continued to grow over the last 5 years. What is particularly exciting is also to see the number of girls choosing to lace up their skates. We're also not the only entity that calls Hobbs home. We share with those high school teams, with the college, the Eau Claire Figure Skating Club. In fact, it's so busy, we struggle to get enough ice time for all of our needs. And we actually would like to have more ice. And now the city is talking about potentially bringing again another entity to run a facility that they don't have any experience in. The other thing that I would like to bring to attention is the economic impact our organization brings to this community. In a study in 2013, it was shown that one Eau Claire Youth Hockey tournament brought about $500,000 in economic impact. To give you, I would like to see what those numbers are today to kind of give you some numbers from this year. We just hosted 4 tournament weekends. That brought over 70 teams from Minnesota, Iowa, the Fox Valley area, Superior, Madison, Milwaukee. All of these teams traveling to Eau Claire to play in our ice arena. What is concerning is why the city seems to be trying to offload a building that is used so widely, not only from the youth. We have skaters as young as 4 up to 14. It's also used by the high school and the college. And to not have control of where someone might change, again, how we use the facility, what offerings we could have, affects a large group of people in this community, and is one of the reasons why many of us choose to live here. I would like to know also why one of the reasons it seems like they want to take advantage of a grant that is due on March 31st, and we found out about this last week, even though it sounds like the city has known about this grant for over a month. We also are run by a bunch of volunteers who work and live in this community, so being put under the pressure of trying to make decisions in about 3 weeks' time is pretty concerning, and would like to see some more transparency. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay. Courtney? Hi, welcome.
Thank you. Hi. Good evening, Council President and Council members. My name is Courtney Ritchie, and I reside at 3219 Colehep Road, and I am the regional treasurer for AYSO here in the Chippewa Valley. So our organization is built on 6 core philosophies that shape every decision we make and every experience that we create for local families. Everyone plays, balanced teams, open registration, positive coaching, good sportsmanship, and player development. These principles ensure that every child, regardless of background or ability, has the chance to participate, grow, and succeed. AYSO is more than a youth sports program. We are an active contributor to the Eau Claire community. Since 2023, we have purchased $40,000 in chamber bucks to pay our youth referees. This approach not only supports young people with meaningful work experience, but it also keeps tens of thousands of dollars circulating directly within Eau Claire's local businesses. In 2025 alone, that amounted to nearly $11,000 in chamber bucks paid out, money that went right back into our community. We are proud to develop youth referees who gain leadership skills, confidence, and responsibility. These young people become stronger contributors to our community, both on and off the field. AYSO understands that the city is facing budget challenges, and we want to be part of the solution.
We are committed to working collaboratively with the city to ensure that youth sports remain accessible, affordable, and beneficial for the Eau Claire families while also supporting the city's financial goals. Our commitment started with AYSO alone from the beginning when we helped raise over $175,000 to construct the soccer park. Thank you for your time and recognizing the positive impact that AYSO continues to make in our community. We look forward to partnering with you to keep the Eau Claire a place where families, children, and local businesses can thrive. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. And Kylie? Hi, welcome.
Hello, my name is Kylie. In advance, I hate public speaking, so bear
You're doing
with me
great so
here.
far. You're doing great.
My address is 3450 Creek Ridge Drive. I am on the board of ASO, but more importantly, I'm a mom in this community and I'm a therapist. So I work directly with our community members in the worst time of their life. So I'm going to talk from that role rather than from the AYSO role. In my last 6 years of being a therapist and a social worker in this community, I have seen firsthand how important extracurriculars are for mental health in our kids and our teenagers. This is where much of their socialization and development happens. Many of us have heard the term socio-emotional learning in our school system. That's a major component of ASO and sports in general. Through socio-emotional learning, children develop the knowledge, attitudes, and skills to understand and manage emotions, set and achieve positive goals, show empathy, maintain positive relationships, and make responsible decisions. When integrated into sports, this can help build resilience, teamwork, and emotional intelligence while also improving academic and life outcomes. Stronger socio-emotional skills are linked to better mental health, lower risk of depression and anxiety, and higher long-term success in schools and work. The data backs this up. This isn't just me talking. The data shows that 11% of kids who are in socio-emotional learning-rich sports achieve higher academic performance and 20% more positive peer relationships. ASO's focus on socio-emotional learning is also a core component of why our region here provides scholarships to kids. We believe every single child should get the opportunity to participate in sports, so we provide that to anyone regardless of the reason that they're asking for it. According to the 2025 Eau Claire Community Profile, 64% of households within Eau Claire fall into the low to middle income bracket. Most of us are making decisions about which groceries we can afford, let alone being able to afford memberships or higher fees for things that are not required like sports. If the soccer park were to be passed to another organization that would put extra obstacles in the way of families, participation in sports would decrease. Kids' opportunities to learn needed social and emotional skills would decrease, and mental health concerns might increase. We need to continue to provide affordable opportunities for kids and families to participate in extracurriculars, and ASO is committed to making that happen if we are given the chance to manage the soccer park. Thank you.
Thank you. You did great. All right, Scott. Hello again.
Madam President, I'm still Scott Bolstead, and I still live at 603 Katy Lane.
Well, welcome.
Thank you. I have 3 hot topics. 1, I know we're facing economic headwinds right now, but the chief election inspectors could really use a pay raise. That's number 1. Number 2, I heard the city has got a decrement of $2 million, and part of the reason is because lack of federal and state money. Well, as far as the feds are concerned, the ARPA money, the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, is gone. It was one-time money. I certainly hope it wasn't used for hiring or raises. And then, I heard that the state is also, not giving us our share. According to my research on the Department of Revenue, last year, the state gave us $7.1 million in shared revenue. This year, the state is planning to give Eau Claire $9.45 million. I'm afraid that Eau Claire is being affected by the same disease that struck DC. Bad math, because that's $2.3 million more than last year. Sounds to me like maybe someone here has a math problem. Maybe add instead of subtract. I don't know. And then finally, point 3, what follows is a rumor, I guess. I'm calling it a rumor because then I have not been able to triangulate it. But I heard the city is planning on swapping Hobbs Ice Center, Fairfax Pool, and the soccer fields to the YMCA in exchange for the building downtown. So the city can apply for a grant. I don't know what they're going to do with it, but I must admit it, when I heard it, I didn't put a lot of credence in it. And after being here tonight, spending all night with you good people, that the fine people of this city council would never approve something like that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Scott. Okay, Joanna? Hi, welcome.
Hi, welcome. Thanks for letting me talk. I don't live in Eau Claire, so I apologize. No. My name is Joanna Colgan, and I serve as the regional secretary for the ASO Region 803 soccer teams. I'm also the mom of multiple ASO soccer stars. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today about the impact our program has on the Eau Claire community and why continued support for youth sports, especially soccer, is so important. ASO Region 803 has been a part of this community for decades, and today our presence is stronger than ever. As of this past Saturday, we have over 1,000 registered players for our fall 2025 and spring 2026 season, with registration still open for another week. These players represent over 730 Eau Claire area families who chose our program because it provides a safe, positive, and inclusive environment for our children. To support these young athletes, we've already formed 80 teams, with more expected as registrations continue. Each of these teams will play 8 games in the fall and 8 games in the spring, totaling 656 games hosted right here in Eau Claire Soccer Park. That's 656 opportunities for kids to grow, learn, teamwork, and build confidence to stay active. But numbers alone don't make a season happen. People do. Our region is powered by volunteers, as discussed by multiple people before me. We have 187 registered volunteers, people who coach, mentor, and support our players. We have another group of dedicated helpers who maintain our fields by painting the lines, preparing the grounds, and ensuring the facilities are safe and welcoming, and that's used by more than just our teams. We have also roughly 20 volunteers each week who help run the concession stand, which we recently took over from the city to help offset the operational costs of the soccer park. And behind the scenes, a 15-member board works year-round to ensure that our league remains organized, safe, and accessible to every child who wants to play. What we provide is more than just a sports program. We provide a community hub, a place where families gather, where friendships form, and where children learn lessons that last far beyond the field. We create an environment that promotes physical health, emotional well-being, and positive social development qualities, social development qualities we need now more than ever. ASO Region 803 is proud to be one of the largest youth sports organizations in the Chippewa Valley, and we're committed to continuing our partnership with the city to ensure that it remains a place where youth sports can thrive. With all this in mind, I respectfully ask the council to take a close look at the value our program brings to the community and consider giving us the opportunity to play a larger role in supporting the city during this budget deficit, as opposed to selling to a third party. We believe we can be part of the solution, particularly when it comes to helping manage and maintain the Eau Claire Soccer Park. Our volunteers, our infrastructure, and the commitment to the families of Eau Claire position us well to assist the city and keep this facility strong, sustainable, and accessible. We are ready to collaborate. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming down. Lance?
Emily, it's been 20 minutes.
All right, 20 minutes. Okay, just a minute, Lance. Councilmember
Move to
Brewster?
extend
Okay.
the,
Could they have a motion? Okay. Okay. We'll just, people really want to keep, so we'll just do a voice vote. So all those in favor of extending another 20 minutes, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Come on down, Lance. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, you guys. My name is Lance Hortz. I live at 3132 Rudolph Road. I'm a U.S. Navy veteran. I was medically retired from the Department of Corrections after serving over 21 years. I was diagnosed with MS, and I'm on disability. I am totally against the water raise. You people have cost me $150 in license tags for your axle tax, along with $90 extra for county road tax. Since you are paying city workers, why are they not paying the lines on the roads? No, you are paying a private company to do this. I found this out recently with Rudolph Road. The electric company is looking for a raise in rates also. You people charge me taxes to build your Confluence project. Do I look like somebody that's gonna go to a building with arts? No. I look like I just got off a Harley. The city needs you to get their books in order and quit spending money you don't have. Quit coming after us, the taxpayers, for things we don't need. My last 4 mortgage statements show the rise in my mortgage payments due to the city of Eau Claire's taxes. You said you were going to be $2.2 million shortfall, but yet you spent $5 million on a contractor to build an apartment complex on top of a parking ramp. This is ridiculous. How much taxpaying money do you spend in that court cost fight with the town of Washington for land they didn't want you to have, or did the people living in that area want you to have? This city has nothing for handicapped people like myself to do, as I cannot walk long distances or ride a bike. My enjoyment is being able to ride my 4-wheeler with my wife and go for a ride, but not here. Next, maybe you should tighten your belt and get the 259 people/businesses that owe delinquent taxes to this city, which on March 2nd of this year totaled $10,855,647. You have done nothing to bring a manufacturing company to help with the tax base. For example, the Hutchison building is sitting practically empty, not producing any tax revenue. Lastly, do you not see what the government is doing to us? Cutting people's Medicare, jobless rate loss, rise in gas prices, food prices, homelessness, and a war. This city has nothing but expensive housing and fast food. Anyone with a single income can't afford to live by themselves. I should know I have 2 single adult children with good jobs still living in my house because they can't afford to move out. My neighbors on both sides of me are on Social Security. How long before you put them on the delinquent list? Get your books in order and not on the back of the taxpayers.
Thank you for coming down.
Thank you.
Okay, Dave? Hi, welcome.
Thank you, Madam President and council members. My name is Dave Lambert. I am a board member of the Eau Claire Figure Skating Club, and I would just like to address you on our support for the future of Hobbs and what it means to us. The Eau Claire Figure Skating currently consists of just about 100 junior and senior club members with a couple hundred Learn to Skate members. When you walk into Hobbs, the mural is where how dreams are made. My daughter is one of the girls when she was younger that was part of that. She will be graduating this year and moving on, but I think it's important. The Eau Claire Figure Skating Club and Eau Claire Parks and Rep has brought a lot, only not to my family and friends, that's come a long ways, but to friends and families we have made both across figure skating, hockey, and the 2 high school hockeys, youth hockey, high school hockeys, and UW Eau Claire. That's our best guesstimate is several hundred youths that show up there dedicatedly a few times a week. They have excellent work ethics. They're just like any sports. They are learning something that will carry them into the future. That aside, Eau Claire Figure Skating just finished up the weekend before last our annual, our annual competition. That competition, we hosted 400 and some competitors that came from all across Midwest, 4 states, and actually 1 international skater came also. That's bringing a lot to our local economy. When you add that together with what hockey brings in their tournaments, let alone games, everybody, I think it brings a lot more than just the finances of that. That aside, expenditures are important. Eau Claire Figure Skating would also like to work with you guys for a solution, not giving one just given to us. And we are willing to do that.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Christine? Hi, welcome.
Hello. Good evening. My name is Christine Casto. I live at 483 Garfield Avenue in Eau Claire. I am the current president of the Eau Claire Figure Skating Club. And I wanted to address you about the expected operating budget shortfall in fiscal year 2027 and beyond, and the proposed operational transfer of Hobbs Ice Center. I do urge your council members to support maintaining funding in the city of Eau Claire's operational budget for the operation of Hobbs, which has been part of this community since 1975. My family spends countless hours at Hobbs. I have an 8-year-old daughter who figure skates and attends numerous summer recreation programs that are held there. So it's important to remember that Hobbs is not just ice sports, but there's a number of Eau Claire Parks and Recreation programs that are run out of that facility. I also have a 15-year-old that participates in the popular open skating program that's Wednesday and Sunday nights. And there's families and college students and high school students. It's really a community gathering space. It's really an important part of our fabric of our daily lives and the others, and many others. And it's a place where we can connect with other community members. It hosts a valued community recreational programs that may not be possible to run elsewhere, such as Party Rec, etc. Because in this community, we actually don't have a lot of event space in terms of large dryland areas, but even smaller areas as well. Quality city-owned and operated parks and recreation facilities in Eau Claire are part of what draws individuals and families to the area and part of what keeps them here. They are important contributors to the quality of life of residents in Eau Claire and the region overall. The city of Eau Claire should continue to fund and invest in these valued recreational services. If the city of Eau Claire no longer operates Hobbs Ice Arena, the access to recreational services at that facility and its quality of services offered may be impacted. There's a lot of expertise and skill that's required to maintain a quality ice service and a quality ice arena. What we have here is it draws people from around the region. I can speak for figure skating specifically. The quality of the ice draws people to come and skate here because in their home communities they don't have access to that quality. Some ideas that I have to identify additional revenue for funding of Hobbs and potentially recreational facilities in general, as we were asked to identify solutions. The first is if the council moves in the direction of paid parking in the city parks and recreational facilities that has been proposed, I would also propose, in addition to individual like one-time paid parking, to potentially look at putting together like a vehicle permit system, almost like the state park stickers that you could buy annually, and that would give you access to park at all the different recreational facilities and parks, so it's not as big of a deal to like go there and park. And then that money could be used to help fund the recreational facilities.
Great. You are out of time, Christine. But just when you get
and-
into the good ideas.
Okay, and also just also to re-examine the user fees and the ice rates at Hobbs and some of these other recreational facilities. Is there a way that we can get things where they need to be to continue the city funding and operating them?
Great, thank you. Feel free to
Thank
email
you.
your ideas too or anything, so
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
Thank you for coming down. Then Mai. Hi, welcome. Hi.
I'm also very nervous.
Again, you're doing great too.
I am Mai, and I live at 6385 Aspen Ridge Drive. I'm Vice President of Eau Claire United Soccer Club, and I'm here to speak on behalf of our club. I'm just, I feel like with the whole soccer club, I feel like both clubs need to be involved. We're both nonprofit organizations. I feel like we all have the same goal, is we want the same opportunity for our children. Growing up, my parents, there's 5 of us. My parents could only afford Parks and Rec. So I feel like if we took that away, a lot of kids would not have that opportunity that I had when I grew up. And I feel like our club also offers, a lot of things. We offer top soccer for children with disability, and if we took that away, that would, I just feel like those opportunities are there. And I just feel like, and we have a tournament every year that we draw in a lot of teams, and last year and this year we are set to draw like 154 teams from Minnesota, and I mean, it shows them like what kind of city we are, and we're already booked. You know, our hotels are booked for the whole weekend, and so I mean, we draw we're getting business from that too. So I really hope that it stays, and yes, really hope it doesn't sell to a third party and stays affordable for our community. So
Great.
that's all I really have to say.
Thank you, Mai. Thanks for coming down. Then Herbert, do you want to speak again? Hello again.
All right, thank you once again. I'm Herbert, and I live at 1417 Bend Court, Eau Claire. So I just want to say, and thank you for our city council members for all the hard work you guys are trying to make sure that we don't get into that situation where we all get to misunderstand each other. Because like now, speaking about, my concern is about when I heard about the opinion about either selling our properties or the assets that we have to fund the 2027 budget. And I was a little worried because when I looked at it, I'm not for it. I'm against that. Because the reason is, these are the assets that we do have. And if we sell, looking at the land that we have in Eau Claire, there is no any other place we can have a place like this to have these activities going into. So my concern is, with all these properties we have here, we don't need to sell it, or we don't need to lease it to the third party to manage it. Like, we have members of our communities here who are running sports activities, and by them doing that, it's generating income. So what I look at, to me myself, when I'm looking at tomorrow and I don't see any possibility of something happening, I don't need to panic. But I just need to tell myself I have to plan. By planning, that gives me the confidence of overcoming that. So that way, we, as the community, are able to understand what's really going on. Because when we sell this, it's a one-time sale. And we're just gonna, because we need 2.2 million, we're just gonna sell all these properties, and what's gonna come after that? In 2028, 2029, 2050, who's gonna gain? The private party, or whoever buys it, will be gaining this for forever, but at the expense of our community, our kids. Because these are the facilities that if we maintain, rather than selling it, we can upgrade them to different levels that it can do more activities like Fairfax Pool. We can upgrade that maybe with time, if we get some funding, we can upgrade that to a level whereby it also includes winter activities. So that way it's running 24, like year round. So to me, we need to look and think hard of our opinions and our decisions of what would really benefit us. Because we can sell it today, yes, but what's going to happen tomorrow?
Yeah, you are out of
All
time,
right,
but
thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for coming down. That's the end of my list, but does anyone in council chambers like to come up? Yep, come on. Come on down. Hi, welcome.
Good evening. I think most of you know me, Phil Swanhorse. I live at 550 Graham Avenue, apartment 306. Just a minute about me. 25 years ago, I started as a driver for Eau Claire Transit, drove for 16 years, retired. 3 years later, I got on the Transit Commission. The last couple of years, I've been Transit Commission Chair. Back in 2014 and 15, I sat in Ron Kine's office in DC with lobbyists helping get the Tiger grant that our transfer center was built on. I was one of the shovelers of the transit. So I've been around transit in this city a little longer than most of you have been on the council, I'm sure. I'm not going to come here to complain about why do we have to cut transit. I understand money's tight. You got to cut the budget. But we sure as the hell got to understand what you're going to cut. Transit has three things: hours of operation, areas of operation, and frequency of service. Hours, area, frequency. Don't cut a whole route. You've just eliminated people who demand service in that area. Don't cut only 3 hours a day and 6 hours a day. Frequency you can cut. If someone is dependent on transit to get their prescriptions or to schedule a doctor's appointment, they can do that if they only get frequency once every 2 hours instead of once every 1 hour. So there's your solution. What do you mean, there's my solution? In the past, again, I've got a little history. We used to have run 3 and 4 as the target here. 3 and 4 used to run 16 hours a day all night and Sunday. We had to cut. You know what they did? They went 3-4 combination at night. We still run 3 and 4 on Saturdays. We had to cut more. So Saturday went 3 and 4. Instead of 2 buses, just 1 bus. You got to cut more? Guess what? In the morning, bless you, the kids are using the buses. They're busy in the morning, in the afternoons. From 10 to 2, there's nobody on the damn buses. You got people complaining about that, right? There's nobody. Why do you need 2 buses out there? How about a 3-4 combo during the day? You've just cut 4 hours of a bus time. I'll give you another solution. There's a Route 8, 2 Route 8s. Why do we need 2 Route 8s? In the morning when the kids are riding, when CDC people and REACH people, when other people need those 2 routes, we need them. But between 10 and 2, we don't need 2 routes. You need to cut it. I'm out of time. What is the solution beyond that, making more additional cuts that I've seen in years past? You got 2 of the words there: regional transit financing, regional transit authorities, it's called. I've been fighting for it for 20 years. That's the future solution. So there's my proposal for you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Phil. Thanks for coming down and the solutions. I like that. Anyone else in council chambers like to speak? Oh, okay, yep. Hi, welcome.
So yeah, I'm Jeremy Gregard. I was able to serve on the Transit Commission for 6 years while I was on the council between 2018 and 2024.
Can you say your address, please?
Oh, and my address is 1725 9th Street on the west side of Eau Claire. I have a bus stop right in front of my house on Route 12. And so I am a transit rider, especially in January when we had really cold weather and I couldn't bike so much. I do think, it is a very complicated situation, to be talking about cutting transit because there is a lot of state and federal money that is at stake. So if a $250,000 cut is being proposed and were to go through, then you're looking at, potentially, another $300,000 of state and federal money. So really it decreases service significantly more. And to be talking about microtransit as a possible solution, to like maybe fill in a gap if you cut service in the evening or on the north side of Eau Claire, like we haven't had a great time, I guess, from my perspective in terms of like really seeing if microtransit is viable or like desired with the pilot that occurred because, it was operating during fixed route service on the north side. And so it was hard to really see what the utilization would be like without the fixed route service there. So like the data really isn't there for us to really analyze it right now, and maybe it's forthcoming from VIA, the operator of that microtransit pilot, but really there's a lot of data that we don't have. There's a lot of the ridership data that was used for the transit development plan and for the presentation earlier today, like it's unclear as to the exact time frame that it's from and like whether it's really that accurate because we've had trouble, getting accurate data from ridership over the last 3 or 4 years. So my concern is that we're not, that we don't have the best information to be able to really make the targeted cuts that we may need to make. And I would be more in favor of looking at what those hours of service that we may be able to cut back on the fixed route, rather than thinking we can viably replace fixed route service with microtransit when we really didn't have a very effective pilot, in my opinion. So I don't want to try to venture and say what exactly the service that we should be cutting is if we do decide to cut. But right now, I would hope that we not think that seriously about cutting until we have better information. So I'm happy to be a part of exploring that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Jeremy. Anyone else like to speak? Yeah, come here. Hi, welcome.
Hi, Mindy. I live on 3419 Eddie Lane. I'm here as a, oh my God, I can't.
You're doing great.
I'm here as a representative of the board of the Eau Claire Figure Skating Club. My daughter's a skater. Oh my God, I hate this.
It's okay.
And so I just want to show support for Hobbs, keeping Hobbs. And I just want to emphasize the traffic that Hobbs gets and like the amount of ice that is being used. It's not a city that just sits and does nothing. There are weekends that you walk in there and there's just last weekend we had a figure skating tournament and hockey tournaments going on at the same time, and we were moving our schedules around to fit both of those into the building. UW hockey uses that building. There's hockey, like there's camps in the summer for hockey, there's camps in the summer for figure skating, and it's really the only accessible ice in the area. So if you take that away, there's not really anywhere for these kids to go. And I will say that 3 of our skaters who graduated from our club are now national champions. And so we don't, and several of our kids grow up to skate in college. Several of them grow up to be coaches. My daughter's a junior coach. She loves it. It's her first job. And she is feeding and mentoring the future generation of kids. And I think that's really important to acknowledge.
Great. Thank you, Mindy. Thank you. All right. Anyone else want to come down? Oh, she's going the wrong way. I got excited. Anyone else? I'm going to pause, let y'all think. If anyone's on the fence, now's your time. Okay. All right. Well, I just really glad you all came down. Thank you for speaking up, and this is really good. So with that, we do have a closed session. So we will move into that, but this ends our open business meeting, or public hearing. Yep, I'm gonna do that now. So upon a motion newly made and carried, the city council may go into closed session to provide direction to staff regarding terms for negotiation of a land purchase by the city and further deliberate on the investing of public capital funds through a land purchase, which for competitive or bargaining reasons require closed session pursuant to 19.85. The City Council will consider and provide negotiating parameters to staff regarding the potential purpose of property suitable for city economic development and industrial uses west of Eau Claire. Does anyone get a motion? Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Miller, second by Vice President Worthman. We'll do a voice vote if you can hear us. Or I'm sorry, not a voice, a roll call, I meant. Yeah.
Councilmember Bergen.
Aye.
Brewster.
Aye.
Boga.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Otto.
Aye.
Reed.
Aye.
Schoen.
Aye.
Toronto.
Aye. Is that it? Okay. We're unanimously. Oh, did he call Vice President Worthman?
Yeah, Worthman.
He says aye. All right.
5 minutes.
Yeah, we'll let.
You've been absent so much lately.
Oh!
Not as much as some people.
Oh!